If you would, please join us in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all. Welcome to the September 16th, 2020 meeting. Let the record show that all three commissioners are here, present and accounted for. One's a little banged up, but he is here. And of course our auditor's here. Bob is still working his way back here, and so I know he's doing a lot better. Spending a couple of 3 hours, I think, a day or in the office. So
really good.
He is moving around, and we wish him continued success there. As normal at this meeting, if anybody's got anything that's not on the agenda that they'd like to bring up, we have a little window of opportunity here at the beginning. No action taken, but yes, ma'am.
On behalf of the Advisory Planning Commission, we've run into a slight problem. There are some people, some companies that are coming into this community selling modular homes, mobile homes, etc. And they're either not instructing their contractors who are actually coming in and moving the mobile homes in place and installing them, or they're simply ignoring what our building commissioner wants them to do. So you will find in your packet today a letter that we have sent out to 3 companies and 3 installers that have done business here in the county. Just a friendly warning telling them that if they don't stop it, they're going to start getting fined. And we wanted you to be aware of the situation and that we're attempting to address it.
Okay. All right.
So what do you mean they're selling them? They're selling people?
You know, they've got a 2-tier system there. The salesman meets them on the lot, they sell them a product of some sort, and then if the people don't, from what I understand, if the people don't have someone in mind to move it who is licensed to do so, then the company will arrange and charge them accordingly with contractors who work in Scott County. And then those contractors will come in and then they'll start it. You know, they'll do the foundation, they'll do tie downs.
But they're not getting the proper permits to do it.
It isn't that they're not getting the proper permits, but when they go to that office, the people who get the permits, which is normally the person buying the home, is instructed and it is emphasized that they need to get the building inspector out there for every process. And these people are simply not doing it.
Okay, so they're skipping from,
They're trying to.
they're skipping from A to Z.
Exactly.
Okay.
So we are attempting to put a stop to that.
And is it certain companies? Is there a certain company or is it?
Yeah,
Okay, so you have a individual company that's doing this.
we do.
Okay. So it's easy to track.
Exactly.
Okay.
So 3 of the companies have been notified by email. The others were notified by U.S. Postal Service.
Okay.
So we're hoping that that will just put a stop to everything.
Sounds good.
Okay?
Sounds great. All right, anybody else? If not, we'll jump right into the agenda. And the first thing on the agenda is Carver construction presentation. I presume that's you, gentlemen.
Yes, sir.
Come on up. Have a seat.
Thank you.
Ryan, go ahead and introduce.
Oh, yeah, how y'all doing? I'm Ryan Matthews with Carver Construction Group, and this is Steve Tibble. He's a investor partner with Carver Construction Group.
And you're based out of?
Our company is based out of small East Texas town. We do work all over the country for our client. I personally, we live in the Chicagoland area, and but we do work, all over. So, kind of give you, you know, that kind of goes into the first part of that. You know, I'm originally from down in this neck of the woods. I grew up in Trafalgar. I'm originally born in Lagodi, so, so, you know, I know this area somewhat well. You know, Carver Construction, like I said, is from a small town in East Texas. We've done work at over 80 of our clients' facilities, capital construction projects, as well as being a partner and a developer for them. We're one of their larger landowners. We own 6 of their facilities currently. We do long-term leasebacks to them, so 20-year leases, but we'll be the inevitable owner of the property.
Carver will, right?
Carver Construction, correct. Between Steve and I, we also have over 25 years of experience of being employed by our client. So both Steve and I are former employees of the company as well. So we're very intricate with their operations and layouts and business model. You
So
know,
you're saying you used to work for IAA?
I did,
Okay,
and so did
okay.
Steve, yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yep,
So
so,
you're familiar with their product?
yeah, we're, between Steve and I, we've probably been to almost every facility they have across the country. They have about 200 in the US and in Canada,
So
so.
they're not a small operation?
No, they are a publicly traded company. I think right now their present stock market value is right at about $5 billion, $5.5 billion, somewhere in there. Yeah, very, very large corporation. You know, we started construction in June on in a similar market, about 30 miles due east of Kansas City, Missouri. It's a little bigger facility. It's 76 acres. We're developing 45, 46 initially. So same small town. It's actually a smaller town, I believe, than Scottsburg is, but similar process. You know, we can even, you know, put you in touch with those folks there. I mean, they give great recommendation over there.
Where's that at?
It's called Odessa, Missouri. It's right off of Interstate 70, about 30 or 35 miles due east of Kansas City. You know, we plan on being a part of the community long term. Like I said, we do a 20-year lease with them, but we have a very stringent lease. We hold them accountable for a lot of the things that are going to be first and foremost on people's concerns, environmental issues, cosmetics, and things of that nature. So we have lease provisions in place where if they don't maintain it, we can. You know, because like I said, it's our property. We're not going to let anybody do damage to it. But kind of rolling into that, you know, their business operations, it's very organized. We handed you a pamphlet here, kind of shows you some facilities. The handout inside of that is kind of a conceptual site plan for the property that, you know, that we would like to acquire and how that would kind of lay out from day one. We develop initially about 20 to 25 acres for our initial development, and then the other would be for future growth and expansion. You know, the business will conduct auctions 1 day a week. They operate Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, normal business hours. Outside of, they will receive vehicles 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, but they don't do site lighting. They don't, you know, not going to disturb the neighbors or anything like that. That's one reason like this, because we're kind of tucked back in, kind of hidden. But they, like I said, auctions 1 day a week. They do a virtual auction, but between the auction day and preview day, they have a day before where you come in and look at the cars and stuff. Usually probably 30 to 50 people will come in and view, so it could be a boost to the restaurants and gas stations and things of that nature. All the towing that's done for the vehicles are local towers. They don't own their own tow trucks, so it's all subcontracted and vendored out. So that's one way it's a big boost. You know, this is going to be a $10 to $12 million construction project. You know, we're going to utilize local materials, you know, as many local contractors as possible. You know, we self-perform some work, but we sub out other work. But, you know, stone and base and, you know, things like that, you know, we all obviously source that local.
So the auction itself is an online auction.
It's primarily they're transitioning to an online auction. Right now, they're running a hybrid model at a lot of their facilities, but their goal is to transition solely to an online auction.
You said they're open Monday through Friday. Who would be coming into that facility during the normal week without, when there's not?
Non-auction, so typically,
Adjusters and stuff?
yeah, you would have adjusters coming in, you would have buyers coming in to pay for their cars, buyers coming in to pick up their vehicles. And then on preview day, you'll have people coming in, taking a look and kicking the tires, literally, checking the cars out, open them up. Because a large part, these may be total loss vehicles, but there's a percentage of them that are also theft or even hail damage or something like that. They still may run and drive, but this is not a salvage yard. These cars are not parted, they're not scrapped, they're not dismantled, crushed. As they come in, they go out the door. They do not get paid until those cars are auctioned off. The typical turnaround time is about 45 to 90 days. Like I said, they don't get paid until those cars get sent out. The only cars that may stay on the lot longer would be what they call a hold vehicle. Those cars are shrunk wrapped with plastic, and those were typically part of a police investigation, a criminal investigation, maybe a fatality, accident, or something like that, where it's a court order where they have to hold those cars indefinitely. But those cars are completely shrunk wrapped and
They're on legal.
You probably,
they're on legal hold.
I doubt, you don't probably don't own any of these vehicles, do you? You're just auctioning for other people.
All the insurance companies own them. They may have a few consignment vehicles, but 95% of them are owned by insurance
Well,
providers.
and that's the reason I'm going, if what, for say one didn't sell,
They
they would have to come and get it.
No, well, they'll every car sells, they may rerun it the next sale,
Okay.
but typically that car will sell within 2 sales. So no car goes unsold because the insurance company wants to recoup some of that
Yeah.
money as well. Yeah.
Okay.
So as far as, and I've seen some pictures online and stuff, because some of the questions I had was, it's not a junkyard. And it's,
Yep.
and I know you and I have talking.
Sure.
You said that they pull them in there and line them up just like you're going to a car lot.
That's right.
There's lines of cars and it's, you just walk the rows and look at the cars.
That's right. And if you look on the diagram, the conceptual site plan I put together, so I call that a 6-pack. Those are their inventory areas. So what that'll be, there'll be 6 cars in one line on a 45-degree angle. 3 of those cars' headlights will face one way, 3 will face the other way. All drive aisles are one direction. So when a loader goes down a drive aisle, all the headlights, they're looking at the headlights there, and they're all on a 45-degree angle. Then every aisle will have a number, and then down the row there will be lettered signs. So when they check a vehicle in the drop zone, they'll take 12 images of it all throughout the car, inside, odometer and all that stuff, and then it gets assigned a sticker. It's kind of like a card catalog at a library, and then it goes in the slot, and it's all handheld scanned in, and then when that paperwork, the title gets processed through the state, and it gets to insurance auto auction for time for them to set it in for sale. It says, okay, I need scan this. Okay, it's a Ford Ranger and it's in F37. Well, they go to the aisle F and they go down to 37 and there it is. And it may be the first, second, or third car in. They pick it up, and then once they check the car's in, then they'll take another one and put it in its spot.
The only reason it takes 45 to 90 days for that process is the state processing time. So if the state can process it in a day, that vehicle is going to be sold at its next week's auction.
Yeah.
As soon as that title comes back, branded, however the state requires it to be branded, it's sold at the next auction.
Correct.
Or up for sale at the next
Yeah,
auction.
they want to turn that inventory. It's just like anybody else. They want to turn that inventory as quickly as possible.
The other thing, as Ryan was talking about, the 6-packs are identified here. Part of that 6-pack would be identified as a sale pad area. So the cars that are coming up for the next week's auction will be placed in that 6-pack area where the sale pad is. That's where the buyers are looking at the cars. They're not wandering through the entire parcel and that type of thing, so it's very confined where they're allowed to participate.
So they're only where the upcoming auction's gonna be, they're looking at that inventory,
That's correct.
Not wandering the whole facility. And the facility's protected. We typically do a 6-foot chain link fence, 3 strands of barbed wire at the top, and then we do thermal and infrared cameras around the perimeter and monitors the interior portion of the yard. They're monitored by a third party. They're military grade cameras.
So on back to the auction, you
Yeah.
said they're trying to go virtual on the auction, but is there people that could come in?
So-
And there's an auctioneer, because we have one right here.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we should be talking really fast?
Yeah. But
I
they,
think you are.
yeah.
I like that.
No, they do have an auctioneer live, and they do have, I think they'd still set up something like a monitor, and then they'll have computers and stuff where people can purchase while there.
One of the things you guys mentioned earlier is about COVID-19. That sort of changed the whole world for a lot of companies,
Yeah.
including our clients, okay?
Well, let me ask you this question.
Sure.
Is, I'm looking at the building here and I'm seeing the picture of the buyer's lobby there. And, you know, I not only am an auctioneer, I teach it. And I do continuing ed for auctioneers, and I've been to Wolf Brothers over in Evansville.
Yes.
And their lobby is a lot like this.
Yep.
But it's a live auction. How many people you gonna employ?
That's one thing that.
We hadn't got
I
to
written
yet.
down. About 15 to 20 direct employees and about 10 to 15 indirect. And the indirect employees that we talked about could be insurance adjusters from one of the insurance providers. They're coming in and they'll have an office space within that office area. And also the indirect are the towing company, okay? So the towers are also local independent. They're not IA direct employees, but they're also local towers.
So so basically 15 full-time employees there on any given day?
Yes.
That's what you're saying?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Which includes clerks at the front counter, title processing clerks, accounting clerk, check-in people, yard operations, yard supervisor, and a branch manager.
And I'm looking on this page here where he's in El Paso, I guess.
Yes, sir.
And is this, I guess, typical of your operation that you go in and you blacktop, or do we just gravel and leave it at that? Or is this gonna be more what it's gonna look like when you're done? Which route
We do typically the 6-pack areas where the cars park, because of their very low traffic, because they're sitting there. We'll typically do that with a stone surface, and then the drive aisles are a dust-free surface. So whether that be hot mix asphalt or recycled asphalt millings or another product that we can make dust-free, that's what we'll typically use. We try to make sure, and one big driving force, not only for friendliness to the neighbors and the community environment, the insurance providers don't want the cars dusty and dirty and everything else, because they don't bring as much money at auction. So we really focus on dust-free drive aisles.
And in the front of the area where the building's at in El Paso, as well as on this diagram, you see where the office building is. You see something called the drop zone and the pullout. Those will also be solid surfaced. Correct. So that's where a bulk of the heavy traffic is located in those two areas. So that's going to be, again, that dust-free type surface, not rock base.
Yeah.
And as far as the rock base is concerned and that type of thing, we're developing a very heavy duty surface. Okay, so typically we're going to come in with the soils are probably going to be in this area. We're going to probably have a soil stabilized sub base, meaning the ground will soil stabilize with soil cement. Then we'll put down rock base where the cars park. Typically that may be soil stabilized as well, and that rock base could be anywhere, depending on the structural numbers that we're looking for. That rock base could be anywhere from 6 to 12 inches thick. And then the asphalt or the asphalt millings could be anywhere from 3 to 6 inches thick as well. So you're looking at a pretty solid profile. Very heavy duty.
I would guess all vehicles will be coming off of 31 on the north side of Tri-Hawk there.
Yes, sir.
Wouldn't be no need to come in there.
No need to come through town.
Yeah.
The tow truck drivers and the truckers that are coming and leaving, that type of thing, they're gonna take the path of least
Is
resistance.
that our road?
Where's that?
That north?
Just
road goes in?
industrial.
Yeah, that's ours.
Okay.
That's ours.
Landscaping,
Yes, sir.
not so much back in the back, but over on Blue Road. Those people will be concerned.
Yep. We would not remove the tree line that's there. That's one thing that we want to screen it from
There's a pretty good tree buffer along that, I forgot the name of that road, I apologize.
Blue Road.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So we would leave that tree line there and then also inset that fence as well, so that fence isn't up against it, you know, so that you can have that buffer.
I got asked about that today, so.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
So you did say that in your initial investment, or the site you're gonna start out with, the initial site would be chain link fenced in, or are you going to chain link the 60 acres?
We initially would probably fence in what we call in phase one on this diagram, so it'd be the 20 to 25 acre piece. And then as we expand, we'd be expanding, let me get my direction right. We'd be expanding to the east, okay? So it would be north to south, full development, everything as far west up against Tri-Hawk property line. And then as we expand to the east, 7-10 years down the road, we would keep moving that fence line.
Okay.
Yeah, because their next phase, you know, it most likely wouldn't be another 40 acres. They would probably say, oh, well, we need 5 to 7 acres and, you know, in 5 years or 7 years or whatever their, you know, growth dictates. And then it could be, you know, another 5 or 7 after that. You know, this gets them more than enough acreage for what they're calling their 15-year need.
So what do you do with the acreage you're not using?
It would stay, it's currently ag today. We would participate with a local farmer to keep it ag.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's good.
yeah.
We're not farmers, so.
Well, you gotta do something with it.
You gotta do
Yes,
something with
sir.
it. No sense
Yes,
letting it
sir.
go
Yeah,
fallow.
Use out of it.
Yeah,
That's right.
that's right.
That's right.
Well, he come from Trafalgar, so he knows a little bit about
I
that, you know?
know, I've been behind a wheel or two.
Yeah.
Tower.
Uh,
Tower Street right there. Yes, sir.
All right. Let me ask you this, how soon is this something that you're gonna wanna know about, and how quick are you wanting us to,
Yeah,
look?
yeah, our due diligence, you know, and it would depend upon, what zoning requirements and that type of thing we'd have to go through. We have to do a full, geotech environment as well, geotech testing as well. So we need to know what kind of soils that we have.
Do a phase 1 environmental study.
Phase 1 environmental.
Survey,
Survey,
title.
geotech testing and that type of thing. That normally takes about 3 to 4 months to get through that. We already have a architect, a standard architect that does all the building designs. So then we would have a civil, that would work on, a local civil engineer would do all the civil designs and that type of thing.
Go through the permitting process. I mean, realistically, we're looking at a spring 2021 construction start.
We'd like to be able to get it under contract so we can do all of our due diligence as soon as possible and get that work done over the winter, so that we can break ground as soon as Mother Nature allows us to move earth.
I'll tell you what, I'd like, don't have to do this, we don't have to, but I'd like to maybe have a meeting similar to this with the Austin Town Board. Even though we probably don't have to have them, I think they need reassurance of what's going on out there, because it does border their people. And I think if you told them what you told us tonight, it would make, we'd be good neighbors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what we're all about as well.
Yeah.
Again,
Because they have some concern too.
Sure,
Yeah.
absolutely.
like I said,
Yeah.
our tenant's gonna be there, is gonna be there for 20 years. We're gonna be there for
Indefinitely.
Yeah.
indefinitely.
Yeah.
So
But I just,
we wanna be a good neighbor.
Yeah.
yeah, and
So-
I think that's just, for me, I think these guys too, we want to show Austin that
Sure.
Yep.
they're good for the right.
So as a development company, and, again, you said that we got a 20-year contract with these people, I understand that. But I also understand that, businesses sometimes do not succeed. What would be the, I guess, plan 2 of this game?
Sure.
At that point, you got, you know, a lot setting there, and at that point, what would you look at then?
Okay.
Bob's saying that, have you ever had one that didn't succeed?
No, this company is fairly successful. And again, I retired from them last year. I was their vice president of real estate and development. So there's a lot of thought and process that goes into them opening up a new facility, okay? And some of that thought and process is they look at what's called zip code analysis and where the cars are coming from today and how far they are and all that type of stuff. So based upon that, their forecast of the 20 to 25 acres they need, that's a day one need that they have. They look at 20 years from now what their growth is. So that's why we're looking at a 60-acre parcel, because they think they would need about that in 20 years. So as far as them ever closing a facility, I was with them for over 17 years, and I remember them closing 2 facilities in 17 years. The only time they've ever left a facility is because they've outgrown it.
Yeah.
Okay, so could it happen? Possibly,
They
okay.
about outgrown the Indianapolis.
Yeah, and that's why we're doing this.
Because there's no
There's no
place for them to
expansion
expand right.
opportunity. I mean, we have, just Carver Construction in the last 4 years have done 6 facilities, been second or third facilities within that market, just because their volume couldn't be sustained at their existing facility.
The human population keeps growing, people aren't getting any better drivers than they were before.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
And things like what we're seeing now with the natural disasters, right? Hurricanes, fires, things like that. You know, heavy winter, you know, they see a spike in cars. I mean, there's certain things that, the average age of a vehicle on the road right now is 12 years, right? So even if we were to stop right now, day one, it would take 12 years to cycle through an automated car, and that's assuming everyone could afford it. So realistically, you're probably, you know, even if we started now, mandated all that, you're probably a 20-year turnaround before you could even get to that point, you know? So there's a lot of factors that come into play with that thought process. And it's not a, you know, one of the things that is should be a big convincing factor is, you know, Eric Carver, you know, the owner of Carver Construction, owns 6 of these facilities, you know, and we're in the process of trying to get 2 or 3 more. I mean, so he has a lot of investment into that, and that's not, he's extremely conservative when it comes to that side of, you know, what he's going to invest in. So it's a really, like Steve said, it's a really stable industry. There's 2 major players in the country that have about 90% of the national market share, insurance auto auctions being one of those 2.
And this client has been in business for about 35 years, so we don't anticipate that stopping tomorrow. It's a more consolidated business model today than it's ever been for this type of business. We've done our research as owners and that type of thing as well. And just this initial phase, I said, we're probably investing $10 to $12 million in it, which is a pretty good investment. So we're going to make sure that we're confident that they're going to be here.
Yeah.
So what could future be here? Don't know. Future potentially could be, if you ever looked at a redevelopment type plan 30 years down the road, not sure what kind of business, but being close to 31, 65 and that, you know, some type of, you got manufacturing in the front, okay? So another manufacturing type plant, distribution type thing, something like that could be a potential redevelopment plan 30, 40 years down the road,
You know,
depending what the
a
needs
B
are.
or C option if something ever did, you know, go sideways with them.
Cars come from everywhere. I mean, I assume you're getting, I mean, is there an area they come from all the United States, the cars come from?
No,
Their model really reflects on tow analysis and how they want to be able to tow it as shorter distance as possible, because towing is their number one cost as a company. Okay, so the closer they can get it to where the cars are coming from, the more efficient and effective their operation is. So these cars are basically coming from the southern Indiana market area. As we already mentioned, there's one facility that's already in Indianapolis, on the south side of Indianapolis, which is covering all of north central Indiana, all the way through city of Indianapolis. This would cover the southern part within the state of Indiana.
their insurance providers don't allow them to tow across state lines, so you're getting the cars from North Louisville, you're gonna get them over from Evansville, Bloomington, Bedford, probably Columbus, Edinburgh. Don't know what the cutoff line is for their, you know, it may be Franklin, North, you know, that sort of thing. You're gonna see Seymour, North Vernon, obviously Scottsboro.
So if Indianapolis is, I guess, we could possibly get their overflow.
Well, we are also in the process of looking at another facility for them.
In another market
another
in
market
northern
in the
Indiana.
state of Indiana.
So it's gonna, what that does, that takes it, it won't be overflow from Indianapolis, because Indianapolis right now gets the cars from Scottsburg and Seymour and north of, so you're just taking those cars instead of sending those to Indianapolis.
The other part, and back to back, something Bob was asking earlier, I know you're an investment group and you're a development group as well. Sounds to me like it's gonna be this company, you know, I guess using the complete 60 acres or thereabout. But I mean, would you ever, you know, and I think you might have answered this, would you ever consider developing it with someone else and doing something different on a parcel of property?
Our client
Your
will,
main-
they'll lease the whole parcel.
Okay, so I guess that kind of answered my question.
Yeah.
You're a development company, is your main customer IAA?
Yeah, pretty much,
For the most part.
yeah.
Okay.
So, and Ryan made a valid point I missed to talk about earlier. Even though we're only developing 20 or 25 acres for phase one, their initial lease is the entire parcel.
Okay.
So it's not like we're gonna take the back piece and say, hey, let's put Joe over here on this type of thing. They're leasing the entire thing.
Also, the other question I had, is this cars only, or can we have semis? Do we have boats? Could we have airplanes? Could we have?
I haven't seen a plane yet.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's, except I will make it up. They did have one that crashed in their facility out in California.
Yeah, yeah, don't think that counts.
Who'd you make mad?
Yeah. Right next to a naval, or a military base,
Yeah.
so.
It was a freight company.
Now,
Yeah.
I think you hit on this a while ago, but security? You got
Yeah.
that?
So
Tell me
on
the
a-
security again?
Yeah, so on the security, did I answer?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Okay.
I thought you, okay.
No,
Yeah.
that's okay. On the security type thing, we will not put lighting throughout the parking lot or anything like that, so, which is a positive thing for the neighbors that are to the south and to the northeast, okay? It's actually, we prefer dark nights, okay? Because the thermal imaging cameras and, type thing, they work a lot better in dark skies and dark nights than they do during bright light. Okay, so the cameras are set up through a computer analytics system. So what it does, it really, it's computer driven, and so it can tell the difference between a human, a cow, a coyote, a raccoon, and even if a human crawls on all four, it would distinguish the crawling pattern of a human and say, hey, that's not a cow or a calf, it's a human, and then that triggers an
I think I've
alarm.
met that guy. Over the years.
Yeah.
So it's a very sophisticated, again, the military set this camera system up 20, 30 years ago. Obviously, it was so expensive, no one could afford it, but it's
Well,
possible
if you
now.
detected something, I'm guessing you'd want a good relationship with law enforcement.
That's right, and one of the things that
You're
we,
so close to Austin, you probably get a quicker response there. than you would.
yeah, and one of the things kind of tying to the community with that, you know, they'll donate cars and vehicles to the fire department for training, even the high schools, you know, when they do a smash a car, you know, prom or something, homecoming, and then they'll also allow police officers to come in, do drug test training with dogs throughout the car, throughout the yard, and things of that nature. You know, they want to be a good community partner, you know, and all of that goes along with that. You know, they do things, they're partnered with the American Heart and Kidney Association, they do a thing called Alex's Lemonade Stand to fight childhood cancer. One of the things that appeals to me a lot is they do Skills USA. I don't know if you're familiar with that. So what it is, it's really, they partner with students, teachers, and companies to develop technical and trade skills. And they put on big conventions and seminars for people. Maybe, you know, there's a lot of kids that don't necessarily go to college, but there's still a lot of ways to be successful in the world without going to college, and that's what Skills USA really focuses on. You know, anywhere from mechanics to body shop repair, things of that nature. You know, they are a really big supporter of that.
The last facility they opened, it was in a smaller community as well. The community opened up their city hall type thing to allow the client to come in and do their interviewing there and that type of thing.
Yeah.
So that way they can hire local, which is really what they want to do.
Yeah.
It's a lot better to hire as close as can to local and that type of thing, because then there's a sense of ownership from the community as well.
This picture you have here of the exterior, an exterior picture of a building, that's similar to what you're gonna be
Yeah,
building?
we do a pretty, pretty basic pre-engineered metal building. It's gonna be 65 by 150, slab on grade, single story. Half of it's built out in office space, the other half will have 3 overhead run and drive bays through it.
You also said you were gonna build a couple of 3-sided?
Yeah, we call them hay barns, and you'll notice on the site plan that I gave you, those little orange triangles there. Essentially, it's an open-sided carport or hay barn. We call them hay barns here, you know, it's just a metal building and, you know, there's no restrooms or nothing like that in there.
So and you've got 3 run and drive lines.
Mhm.
So again, you're still telling me that you're not gonna have live auctions, it's all gonna be, but are you gonna set it up for live auctions?
It will, just in case they decide to go back to the hybrid model that they were running. The model that they ran 6 months, 9 months ago was a live auction simultaneously with an internet auction.
Yes.
Okay?
Yep.
Yeah.
So they would have the cars that drive through the lanes, as you're an auctioneer, you're familiar
Yeah.
with that.
We'd have a
So the
podium
auctioneer,
built.
podium and all
Yeah.
that type of stuff, the
Yeah.
podium's there, the cars that drive through. Then they would go out into the sale pit area and they would drive the auction bus
Yeah.
down the lane, auction the vehicles off, come back up the other side.
Yep.
So
So,
they're still building to that model, okay? Whether they go back to that, we don't know, but right now, because of COVID, they've now went to this internet format. And so,
what's the, you said earlier that 30 to 50 people buyers would come in to inspect the cars.
Mhm.
So what is an average crowd 9 months ago at a live auction that you had?
it depends on the location.
What's Indianapolis's?
Well, see, Indianapolis is a dealer only, I believe.
Yeah, but their live auction base there, when they were doing the hybrid model, was probably 100 to 125 live.
Okay.
You're mainly getting body shops and,
So, yeah, there's 3 types of buyers, if that helps describe a little bit.
because you're getting a salvage title, is what you're,
It depends on the vehicle.
well,
Yeah.
9 out of 10 times.
9 out of 10 times.
Unless it's
Yeah.
a hail damage or something
Some-
else,
it
you're
could be
getting a
exactly.
salvage title.
But there's 3 type of buyers. There's the rebuilders, okay, so they're buying the car to rebuild it and sell it on one of the used car lots or whatever they may do. There are the junkyards, which are buying those cars and they're selling it piece by piece and that type of thing, and then they take it and squish it and it gets sent off to get made into an appliance. And then the third type of buyer is the low-end type cars, where it's going right probably to the scrap yard, where it's going to get recycled and then come back as a piece of steel.
And let me ask you this, again, what kind of regulations does the EPA have? I mean, what do you do on that? Do they come in and inspect this place ever so often, or?
No, and one of the things we like to talk about with the environmental part, they have a third-party environmental engineering firm. It's an international firm that comes in that puts their best management practices together. Every employee at the facility, at every facility, is trained on their best management practices. And to date, Insurance Auto Auctions has a $20 million environmental policy that they haven't paid a dime for yet. The U.S. Department of Labor has what's called an SIC code, a standard industrial classification. Theirs is a 5012. They deems their business as non-salvage, which means it does not require any special stormwater monitoring or flow management or anything else. That's from the federal government. Now, when we do construction, we'll follow all permitting regulations, whatever we have to do to meet the needs for the EPA, whether it's an NPDES permit or a SWIP or whatever is required to develop that site. But from an environmental standpoint, the federal government does not mandate them to manage their stormwater.
So even though that you're bringing in wrecked cars with fluids leaking and everything else.
Let me describe that
And-
process a little bit as well, okay? So if there's an accident like there was on the way down, we were driving on 65, that vehicle's not coming directly to this facility for my 65 accident, okay? It's going to either a state tow impound yard or it's going to a body shop, okay? That vehicle sits there and until the owner of the vehicle calls their insurance company and says, hey, Mr. Insurance guy, lady, my car's sitting at this place. The insurance adjuster then goes and looks at the vehicle, okay? If they then determine that vehicle to be a total loss, then the insurance company then, if that's who IA has a contract with, picks up the phone, gives IA a stock number. IA then dispatches a tower, picks it up and brings it to the IA facility. That lead time between the accident on I-65 and time it comes through the facility is somewhere between 3 to 7 days. Okay, so any compromised part of that vehicle, if it is leaking a radiator fluid or that type of thing, is dealt with at the body shops and at the impound yards. Not to say that they're not going to have a minor leak, diminutive type of leak, so that's where the best management practices come in. They have the spill kits, they have all the cleanup materials and everything else that they need on site. If they do have a spill, they clean it up immediately, report it down. That spill then material then has to get logged off and taken to a federally state inspected disposal facility.
So you don't have, and I guess that brings up the question, like, you know, most of the people have accidents that result in a car being totaled, usually don't run on empty. So you've got a half a tank, 3/4 of a tank, or a full tank of fuel in that car. I mean, do you leave that fuel in that car?
We do not drain fluids, we
So
don't,
you don't have a recovery type?
We
No.
don't do anything, whatever's done at the body shop functions and at interstate, that's being handled there, if they require it to be done there. At this facility, they do not drain any fluids, because everybody knows once you start draining fluids is really when you're having a chance to create a leak and an environmental issue.
yeah.
So on an average, I guess, you see, you'll do an auction once a week.
Yes, sir.
45 days is probably the longest they're gonna sit on this lot.
45 to 90.
Okay.
They would love 45.
But, so, I guess on an average, on a normal lot that you guys are doing, what's the number of cars sitting out there like today, on average?
On average,
Yeah.
125 cars an acre.
An acre?
An acre.
A usable acre.
Okay.
Now, obviously, the water retention pond and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So the area really, if you take a look at the drawing where it says like 6-pack, that area there is really that number.
So on that point there, as initial phase, you're saying 20 to 25 acres. I'm assuming with your, front part up here, you're probably looking at 5 acres and 20 acres in the back. Does that sound about right?
That's
Sounds about
correct.
right.
So-
That's
so,
correct.
20 times
you-
125, so 2,500 to 3,000.
Yeah.
2,500 to 3,000 cars.
Yes, sir,
Yeah.
Does that mean, well, I guess there is.
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
It says here you got buyers from all over the world.
yeah.
Yeah, so one of the big things is, that's one of the big things that helps drive the return and the value. So a little bit more on the business model, because that may help a little bit here as well. The client, they do not make a penny on storage, okay? So if that car is sitting there for 45 days or 90 days, they really want that car out in 45 days as much as possible. Because they don't make a penny per day for storage or anything like that. They only make money the day that car is sold and they get paid for it.
I'm just curious, how does somebody from Europe,
So
cars
you,
over here?
Yeah, so what happens is, because of that, they increase their buyer base worldwide, okay? So certain vehicles, Toyotas, late model Toyotas and that type of thing, there's a huge demand for that in these newly developing countries that used to be all part of Russia, USSR, right? So now you got all these little Kazakhstans and all the
Yugoslavia.
stands.
Shipping cost, it's still cheaper.
It's still cheaper. 'cause
they'll put them in cargo containers.
Their labor's so cheap.
I
Yes.
think they'll buy many of them.
That's right. So he and I both, we've been on both coasts multiple times. We both worked Hurricane Sandy. I think it was like 35% of the vehicles that we acquired through Hurricane Sandy were put on cargo containers and sent overseas. I've met a
So they don't
buyer.
even set foot over
No.
in these lots, you just
Nope.
move them.
They just,
So
yeah.
one of the things that they're doing now to help improve the value of the vehicles and that type of thing, they're doing a lot more imaging. They're doing a live video, a 360 imaging is what they're calling, so that these international type buyers, you know, maybe it's someone down in Mexico, maybe it's someone in Canada, maybe it's someone in Illinois who just doesn't want to drive all the way over here to take a look at the car ahead of time. They're looking at these images, okay, and they're bidding on it live, and they're going to send a transporter over to pick it up and then take it out. The ones that go overseas, as Ryan was saying, they get loaded onto these containers, just like a ship-going container, and then they get taken to a port city. From here, They could either go East Coast like Savannah or something like that, or New Jersey, New York,
Baltimore, I mean,
out of
yeah.
Houston, get loaded on their ship, get taken over to Europe, West Africa. Ghana right now, and West Africa area right now, is probably one of their largest buyers,
Yep.
by a long shot. And
And-
those vehicles then, because labor's so cheap over there, and they're really starving for late model type cars, because
The
if you
parts
think
are
of-
scarce.
Yeah, and if you think of Russia, you know, back in the day, you can have a U-boat. You just had to figure out if you wanted a blue one or a black one, right?
Yeah.
But it was all government controlled. Well, when all that collapsed, the demand for late model cars just shot through the roof.
Kinda like Cuba.
Yeah,
Cuba, all the 350 Chevy,
Yeah.
man,
So
all
if
day
you have a
long.
disaster,
Uh-huh.
it actually helps in the cleanup, and plus it's business for you.
That's right.
That's exactly right. So when you have, Ryan mentioned Hurricane Sandy, we were both employed with the tenant at that time. We both personally spent 7 weeks straight in New York and New Jersey. We found
358 acres.
about 400 acres
Yeah.
in 7 weeks to store 30,000 cars.
And so if you get like a car, it's just basically totaled, but it's still good for parts. and
Yeah.
Somebody will
That's
buy
right.
it for
Yeah.
whatever.
Like a
All
flood
of those
car.
were
Even
flood
the metal,
vehicles.
that's
All those were flood cars?
Yeah.
Yeah,
The bulk of those cars, and some of those were very high-end cars, so the high-end cars would go more to the oil-producing Mideastern countries, okay? Because there's more, income over in that area. They would buy those cars, and they would fix them up and put them in a used car lot.
yeah, salvage title
They
doesn't
all
mean,
warned us there.
yeah,
Yeah.
Was that-
Tell us, probably tell us, move on.
We
Yeah.
were hoping that was a yes vote.
And I'm just got one more question I
Yes,
guess
sir,
I'm
sure.
gonna ask, and the thing that I'm looking at it is, okay, being a online auction limits, like you said, 30 to 50 people coming in. That's one probably, are you thinking a day or a week or every week, day before come in and look, so you're looking at 30 to 50 people. And that's what I'm looking at is okay, you know, from a, you know, we're limited on what we do have as far as ground to entice businesses to come into this community. The one thing I'm looking at is, okay, I see where this is very profitable for your client,
yeah,
but when it comes to us, I'm looking, okay, you're gonna hire 15 people, basically. You're gonna make the initial investment, and that's pretty well gonna be the extent of it. I don't see this putting a lot of heads in beds here in motels. I don't see it selling a lot of tank of fuels. Do you have your, like even in your building there, do you have a snack bar that people can buy food there, if they come to the sale, or you have nothing like that?
All they have is a vending machines.
Yeah, okay.
So it's
Okay.
just sold as a snack vending machine.
So maybe they would, you know,
So-
not help a restaurant on one day a week, 30 to 50 people a week
Yeah.
is what I'm looking at.
Yeah,
Yep.
and it really, really helps. And that is for the buyers coming, so the day-to-day business is also the tow truck drivers and that type of thing. So your biggest push there is at the convenience stores, gas stations, and local restaurants, whether it's fast food or a small sit-down diner type thing. That type of business, those are the indirect employees. Those are the other 10 to 15 to 20 indirect employees that are tow truck drivers, transport drivers who are coming and picking up and that type of thing. That's really the big push forward on the tech side of things.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. Okay, anything else?
No, I think, previous conversations I've had with both of you guys, I mean, I think you guys have already answered all the questions I had. I mean, I'm pretty impressed with the size of the company, and, you know, I think if you were gonna do something, you'd want it to be a reputable company, and when you say this company pretty much has, you know, upwards of, you know, another company has 90% of the market, so that's, and plus you're saying what did you say, they were worth, how many billions?
5.5 billion about.
Depending on the value of the stock
Stock
market.
market on a day-to-day basis.
And they're publicly traded?
They are
They are publicly traded, yep.
Yeah, so-
IAA is their ticker symbol.
Insurance all auctions.
Yep.
So it's, I mean, they're not a fly-by-night company.
No, sir.
I've actually reached out to, some people in that business, and they do business with this company, so that they said they're for real, so. I understand what Bob's saying about, you know, creating income for
Sure.
the county, whether
Absolutely.
through tax base or
Yep.
whatever. So, I mean, I don't know that, property's been set there for a long time without anybody, being interested in it, so. So anyway, like I said, it's something we're gonna have a discussion with ourselves. I know you guys drove a long ways down here to give a presentation and explain more about the business and about your intentions, so that's pretty much what I got.
Yeah, I think it's wonderful what you're doing. Like I said, I would like to maybe just hook up with Austin.
Sure.
Sure.
Just to let, I think it always stops rumors.
It's
Get it out,
Absolutely,
get it right out.
absolutely.
And most of that has been addressed tonight, and it wouldn't even hurt maybe even let somebody from Custodial come down, because it will probably help them out a little bit too, right across the line, a few businesses maybe.
Mhm.
But Austin particularly, I
Yep.
wanna make sure they
It's
get,
at their doorstep.
yeah, because they'll wanna know.
Yep.
I guarantee you I talked to them today, first thing they go, oh, no, junkyard, I said, no, I'm out.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and that's the thing, we wanna communicate the facts, so, because we know what the perception's gonna be and what the image is. I'm not trying to sugarcoat anything, we know what it
I think
is.
this right here,
And,
most of it.
but, and that's why we put this presentation, we wanna make ourselves available, we'll answer whatever questions anybody has.
And then, again, Bob, I appreciate what you said on the tax piece and that type of thing. I'm not sure how it's taxed right now. My guess is probably somewhere on the ag base, which is probably pretty low taxes. When we put a building on it and development and that type of thing, I'm sure the tax base is gonna go up
It would be-
significantly.
It is
So-
an industrial park, so it would be just whatever.
It is in your redevelopment commission
Yes.
district, so those taxes they would be diverted to the TIF funds,
Yeah.
Okay.
until that TIF area expires, so to speak. So it wouldn't be any increase immediately to any of the other taxing units other than the redevelopment taxing unit, but eventually it would end up as part of tax base.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you will go check with Austin if I get ahold of him in contact?
No, yes,
Yeah.
we would love to come down, again, coming to another
You got a
meeting.
card, either one of you?
Yeah, I have some cards, I'll give it to you.
We'll set up a meeting.
Yeah, I'll
Yeah.
give you, yeah.
If you guys wanna
It
set up a meeting,
benefits
we'll come
them
down.
too, I
Oh,
think.
absolutely,
But,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm
Gentlemen,
impressed.
thank you very much.
Thank
Thank you
you.
guys for your time,
Thank
appreciate
you,
it.
appreciate it.
Don't have any deadlines, just as quick as possible, what you'd like to do?
Yeah,
Yeah, again, due to the engineering design and that type of thing, that's gonna take 3 to 4 months and all that type of stuff, so, like I said, if we can come to agreement, you guys are willing to sell the property and we go through the zoning piece and get all that done, we would do concurrently our design so that as soon as Mother Nature allows, we can break ground. So,
Are you looking anywhere else?
we are,
we are,
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yep.
All right. Thank you very much.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck with yours.
Thank you. Yeah, your rehab.
Yeah.
Ryan, take care.
Yes, sir, I'm gonna give you gentlemen my business card.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thanks.
Be careful getting home.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Morris.
That's it?
That's it.
All right. We got the mowing quotes for county properties. We got one, is that it?
And I don't even know if that's all the properties, you don't know either, do you?
I
What they're bidding on.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'll call you about Austin, okay?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Or I'll
sir.
maybe have Austin call you.
Yeah, 24/7, so my cell phone number is the way to get hold of me, I'm never in the office,
Thanks,
so, yeah.
All right, thank you all.
Ryan, guys, Steve, be careful. So we had one mowing company bid
One.
all the properties?
I don't know, I didn't open it, I just
Only
left
one.
it alone.
Put in. Yeah.
Yeah, we have,
See, Paul?
actually,
Thanks, Paul. I didn't realize he was Nancy's son.
Nancy?
Two-town clerk, Custodial.
who's that?
Nancy Nay.
Paul Nancy,
Oh, Paul, yeah.
one of your auctioneers.
Yeah, I never paid no attention.
You need to know your competition.
This is the estimate for mowing county-owned properties with tractor and bush hog and mowing the edges and ditches with skid steer and bush hog for the,
Does it say what property?
yes, transfer station, I guess that's 20.5 acres, is that right? 20.5 acres?
Approximately 20 acres.
Okay. The rate's 50, basically $50 an hour. And he's figuring
How slow goes he going?
10? No, he's
Don't
figuring.
get no hurry.
No, okay, I'm wrong. He's figuring 20 hours. That's what this is.
Okay.
20.5 hours at $50 an hour, which is $1,025.
That's about what the other boy mentioned a while
For the
back.
landfill?
For the land transfer station, yeah. Pigeon Roost, he's figuring, and again, he's figuring 2 hours on that, $50 an hour. So that's $100. He's figuring, again, about $1,175 for Tri-Hawk area. Health Department, figuring $50 for that, and, no, he's figuring $175 for that, and EMS, behind EMS, $50. And, Jonathan Abbott,
Oh, yeah, he's the
Jonathan
one to call me about it.
yeah, Jonathan Abbott, I don't know, you know, for a total of $2,525.
Well, maybe we do or we don't. I mean,
I don't know, at this point here, I think it, again, I think that, the monies are in place, I think for this, correct, Tammy? Through,
You do have income that should be coming in for your property maintenance, and then the larger part of this, 1175, we could pay through the redevelopment funds. So
Okay.
you're looking at cutting about half of that off of what you would have to come up with. So
What
I
the
think we
total
can
again, Bob?
manage.
25.
But you were talking about, the last meeting, we were talking about that, we were mainly talking about just finishing this year out and then, look at it next year on
Yeah,
a different way.
yeah. And I think that this is gonna be a one-shot deal for this time of year, so for me, I'm probably, I think I'm okay with this,
Yeah.
for this right now.
It needs to be done, too.
I mean, yeah, let's get it looking good.
I'll make the motion to accept that.
Mike's made the motion, second.
Yep. second.
I'll make it unanimous.
That finishes two
That gets it cleaned up and.
Especially the
We'll, when we sit here and ask people about being good neighbors, we need to be good neighbors too,
Absolutely.
you know?
Yeah.
So, let's do that.
So do you want me to contact him, or do
Would
you
you?
want to contact him?
Would you?
Okay.
Yeah, that's right behind that,
I got him on here too.
yeah, and, so.
I'm
yeah.
surprised we only have one person, but.
I am too,
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
again,
Well, it's kind of the end of the year, and a lot of people's already got their,
Yeah.
custodian contract for the EMS, hold on that.
Well, can I just hold up, get everything else, I've got a couple of things to talk about before,
Yeah, come on up.
we do an hour later.
Oh, you mean you got stuff later to talk
I've got
about?
some later, so I'm still on mine at the same time.
Do it all at once.
Yeah, I'm okay with
I've got
that.
7 or 8 items I want to do, and we'll do it all together.
Okay, all right. Where you,
Hey, you want to call Miss Denise, the Veterans Office?
let's do that. Yeah, we'll come back to that right there. All right.
Shadow, you ready? So, this is Shadow. You get her for free in the Veterans Affairs Office.
Is that right?
By the way.
She's our
Just
boss.
wanted to give you guys this. This is kind of our status of where we're at, Miss Tammy.
Thank you, ma'am.
All right, are you ready? Can you behave yourself? So, I talked to Tammy earlier about the possibility of increasing our hours in the Veteran Affairs Office. The first set of numbers you see, that was the same timeline, January of 2019 to September of 2019. 114 forms filled out, 53 documents uploaded, and 33 communications. Mind you, that was one person in the office. This year, for January 2020 to 16 September 2020, we've increased to 583 forms filled out, 358 documents uploaded, and 97 communications. Right now, I'm juggling 83 open cases. So when I say open cases, some of them are intent to files, but a lot of them are veterans come here and say, here's my records, I don't know where to find it. I have two that have stacks about that big, 4 stacks each that I have to go through piece by piece. So administratively, it's just become a bear. I don't know how to tackle it, I guess. So when I talked to Tammy, it's coming up on budget time. I work for y'all. So she said that it's a good idea to come and talk to you guys first about anything.
Currently, they have basically 6 days that are split between Tom and Denise. So they're working 6 days, but they're part-time. And then you might segue into benefits, because neither one tapped into benefit packages in the sense from insurances. So
And
she has coverage
if
through the
I
service.
was able to go into that full-time status, I'm retired from the military, plus I have VA benefits, so I'm not needing any benefits per se. I'm covered twice over, so is my family. So that could be, I guess, a saving piece you could get me for the low cost of hourly wage. So just to kind of formulate it, if we can't get more time on there, then we're gonna have to start cutting clients down so that we can pay as much attention and give every client the best of our ability to go through all the documents. And some of them right now, I am proud to say that we have gotten a huge turnaround as far as more and more young veterans that have come in. We are starting to see claims that were done in March, April timeframe come back. And everything, knock on wood, everything that we've turned in from then forward has all been an upgrade. Some were at 30% disability and now we're at 100% total and complete. So we'll always have that disability and it'll be right here in Scott County where they get the money.
So the forms that's filled out, is this form's filled out, it's like 555, well, 583 now, office total right here. Them, when you're talking about 583, is that 583 people?
583 separate forms. Average person is at least 3 forms per person.
So, okay, dividing that, we're looking at 200 people.
Correct.
That we've seen from January to September.
Correct, with COVID.
And that is, and these 200 people are all from Scott County or?
I have 2 right now that are open that are from Clark County that have moved over here.
But are those people that are new to the system, or people that have been in the system?
Some of them have been in the system and we're upgrading their claims.
Okay.
That's kind of, it's about half and half. We have brand new claims that are coming in, which is huge. With the Navy Blue Water, that has started to turn, so I've got multiples of those, which are a little bit tricky because then you have to find this ship that they were in and match it up to the coordinates.
What's Navy Blue Water?
So before, Agent Orange was Vietnam specific Army Marines that were on the ground. What they found out is any ships that were within 12 miles of the coastline were just as exposed to Agent Orange as anybody that was on ground. So now I have a whole new crew of individuals coming in, but I have to prove where their ship was, the latitude and longitude, when it was there, and kind of have to add all of that stuff up. So it becomes a little bit more
I wasn't familiar with
expensive.
that term.
So how many hours a week are you working?
I work 21 hours a week, yeah.
And that's the same as Tom?
That's correct.
So, I guess I'll just ask you, what are you wanting? What are you thinking?
My goal, what I'd love, is to be 5 days a week. That's what I would love to do.
And if I heard you right, you don't care about the benefits?
No.
You want, I mean, we could actually mark that off.
Yes, I
You're
have
talking-
dental, I have eye, I have
You got it
medical,
all.
I have it all.
Except 457B,
Yes.
it would still be her option.
Yeah.
So you're talking 40 hours a week? And
35.
I can tell you.
35, yeah,
not
35,
to
excuse
jump
me.
on that, but I've had really, I'm not trying to make you feel good or something, but I've had numerous people tell me how happy you deal with your clients, and I've seen you do it.
Thank you,
I think we're lucky to have you.
thank you.
And is that, and I guess, are we looking at, what about Tom? What's his?
As far as I know, he's wanting to stay where he is. He has no intention of going full-time. He's batted around retiring here and there. But for Tom, he'll
Yeah.
retire from this job and he'll go find another one. So that's just Tom.
So basically, right now, we're doing 42 hours a week between the two of them.
Correct.
And if we go to this, that would increase basically to 56 hours a week.
Correct.
And
Sorry, go ahead. I mean, we could, 32 is like the magic number we usually look at.
We benefits start basically when they're 30 hours, so according to ACA. So anything over 30 would be subject to benefits anyway.
Should be eligible if you want
Yes,
them or not.
she would be.
Yeah.
So it depends on, again, council obviously is in control of
Sure.
the salary part and then what they can budget for hours. And I think Denise's main thing is with your support, either increasing her, at least a minimum request to get her 4 days a week. And then possibly with council, if this next budget cycle could see fit, then maybe they could work something out and, if, between the hours in that department and budget more for that, and the benefits for the
But
457.
even if we're talking about insurance only, wouldn't she be eligible for perf at that time?
Yes, she would be,
So
yes.
she'd be a full-time
And she'd be
employee.
eligible for the vacations and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, she would get those type of
Yeah.
benefits, but the
I assume you want
heaviest
that.
hitter is that
Is
big
insurance.
insurance package.
Well, here's my thought on this, is just, first of all, on that office up there, again, I've heard nothing but good. And I certainly feel that if you're a veteran, I don't want them to walk in here and see the door closed. I want them to be able to get their claims filed in a timely manner. I don't think I want to see them waiting. On my part, I think, if we increased you to 35 hours, left Tom, and if Tom wants to stay at 21, if he wants more, then we even look at that. But I think that puts it at 56 hours a week, and I think that would help a bunch myself. So I don't have a problem with it, but that's just my opinion.
I'm not-
Again, I would support you on that, but again, I don't write the check. You'd have to go before the council and they would have to approve all this.
I'm going to guess you're probably already working that many hours.
Not on the
Not getting
record.
paid
No,
for 'em.
sir, I can neither confirm nor deny that statement. Isn't that how it goes? And
Well,
I
I
guess,
think my point is, I think you're dedicated to your people.
Yes, sir, absolutely.
And it's shown.
and right now, we just got our numbers in from Indiana Department of Veteran Affairs. And it's really sad. Indiana ranks 45th out of 50 for veterans receiving benefits. So we're very bottom. The sad part is that we rank 18th per capita out of 50 for number of veterans in the state.
I know,
That's a huge deficit, and that's money coming into the state, money coming into the counties, and veterans being taken care
are
of.
most of them local veterans? I know they can come across.
They
lines.
can come across county, but everybody, except I think I have 2 or 3 cases that are outside, and they're not very far outside. I've got one, I think, from Hanover, I've got one from Henryville, so it's not that far outside, but.
Probably closer for them to come here. than go
Exactly, than to
south.
go all the way into Clark, yes.
And add to the positiveness of this, there's another layer of benefits for the veterans as well, because those that are homeowners or car owners, they get taxation benefits that we can give through the auditor's office. And by having those veterans there, veteran service officers there 5 days a week, that gives another layer of service that they can send them downstairs when they get that confirmed and they get their duty in, whether it was active or peacetime or whatever. And we can give them, we can turn around and get them that benefit. So there's savings on the other side to them as well. Besides it bringing more money into the community, it's given the veterans another boost up. And that's just, it's 3 more days a week. We've been able to do 2.5 times the hours that we had before. And I'm very excited from my standpoint in the tax office.
And I'm gonna be very excited if we can get that van.
I will say this too, working with Tammy, because I know we do not in the courthouse have a notary public.
Yeah.
Well, now you do,
You do that.
because I just got certified and my license is coming in the mail. So I've talked to Tammy about that because of her office and the way it is. They kind of have to step back from that, but that office, our office will be able to provide that
And we
service,
don't
not
charge
only
them, do
for,
we? We
no,
just
absolutely not.
benefit
But we can
for
provide it for our veterans, but we can also provide it for the citizens of the county.
And we just pay for your license.
Correct, and now it's done, and now I don't expire for 8 years, so we're pretty good at that point.
Yeah,
Good deal.
but,
Well, I think that, I'm for anything that's got, I'm kind of like what Bob always says, I'm for anything that has to do with the veterans, because They served and we serve them, so if whatever we can do to better, make it easier on them to, get their forms filled out and to be there, when they need help, I think we need to do it, so. But again, like Bob said earlier, the council's gonna have to be the ones that try to find where they can, muster some money, so.
But you're doing the right thing coming here first.
Yeah. No
I
doubt,
like that.
no
I
doubt.
like
Yeah.
I work for
Come
y'all.
for a
I
change.
like for y'all. I
Yeah.
work
You
for
need a
y'all.
motion, Bob.
That comes-
35 hours?
Yeah, let's,
35?
I'm gonna say, let's, and again, I'm gonna assume that Tom does want to stay at the 21.
Yes, sir.
So, yeah, I think I'd like to entertain a motion to
Yeah.
increase.
I'd like to see, add that she is asking that not to have the benefits, so that the council
Yes.
understands that she is, health benefits, she is declining those.
The health benefits.
The health
but
insurance
there
part.
may be things like holiday,
Oh, yeah,
vacation.
she's gonna
I
get
love
off.
those.
Yes, I agree with that. I'll make a motion, we, send this to the council to give her up to 35 hours. She's eligible but not wanting insurance.
There you go,
Is that close, is that right?
that's good.
Yeah.
Motion decline
Yeah.
the health benefits.
Yeah.
Because if she leaves and somebody else comes in, they go, oh, I'm 35 and give me health benefits, so
Well, I'm hoping we can keep her.
I don't think you're gonna get rid of me for a while. I think I'm pretty much.
I'll
set.
second that,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'll make that unanimous, like I say, I think, that's my big thing is, to make sure that the veterans are being serviced. I just, they served us, as Mike said, and we serve them now, so that's what I want to do, so go and, argue your case with your council.
Yes,
How's
sir.
that?
I do have
If you need help,
I'll call on you.
yeah.
I do actually have a positive thing. The monument will be updated by this weekend. All of the names will all be on there that have been submitted.
Okay.
I know we added one more today. Tammy, do you know the final count number?
I think it's just around it's just a smidge under $3,000, I think.
Right, so
So
there
I
have been
can't tell you how many names.
multiple.
18?
I believe so, and one of those is the one individual from Scott County that was killed in action at Operation
Carver.
Iraqi Freedom. So that will be in there with a star, and
Okay.
absolutely.
Question, what
Yes.
happened to the one where we had the ashes upstairs?
He's still residing in my office. I'm working with Tom on that.
Trying to find out.
I would love to get him at least into the Veteran Cemetery in Madison, but I have to have a DD 214 in order to do so.
I know you're working on it.
Yes, but it's been a very arduous process. We've done a FOIA request through Fort Knox to get any information on that specific name, pictures, and we just haven't, COVID. Everything is COVID nowadays.
Yeah, that's important.
Yes, sir.
There's gotta be family out there.
That's what we're
Well,
hoping.
I'm happy to hear that it will be, names added to it and upgraded there. One thing, I think I've mentioned this to maybe both of you at different times right here, but one thing that I would like to see is, us look at that and see about getting somebody to clean that monument too. I'm
Yeah.
noticing it's needing clean,
It's power wash.
whether that does it or not, I think it would, but I would
I've got.
probably
a
wanna
guy
check.
that'll do it.
I think I'd probably wanna check with, somebody like Fuel Monument or somebody that would tell us if that would be.
Pull it off.
be-
You
be
called
sufficient.
Jan Watterson, I talked to him about the statue, so.
I
Yeah,
did too.
yeah.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I'd like to see both of that done, the statue
The
and that.
statue may be as simple as some Dawn soap, is what he told me, because he said him and his dad
30 years ago or something.
painted that by hand with a brush, 2 coats of lacquer on that thing. And
Yeah.
they had called the statue company, and the statue company told him, oh yeah, you can do that. So he did it, and then he called, he goes, because it never dried, it didn't dry for a week. And he said, so he called the company back, or that guy back, and said, this is still tacky. And he goes, well, what would you do? And he goes, well, we took a brush and we painted it. And he goes, oh, we just thin coat it, spray it on. And he goes, ours dried pretty much instantly. So he said, it's been
I can remember when they
It's
did it.
thicker than what it's
You
technically
know,
supposed to be, but he
I
said.
think it was 30 years ago, does that sound right?
That sounds about right. He said that, he was telling me what to do with the concrete too, and we're gonna try that, cause he,
Well, that's, yeah, you would think, like you said, power work, but they're afraid that
no,
concrete,
he
you
said
can
don't
damage
power-
it, you
he
can
said don't
damage
power
it.
wash it.
I'm thinking something like.
He's
vinyl
talking about
acid or
that new
something like
stuff where it's wet,
Yeah.
that stuff you just spray on, it's got some, I got some at home,
Yeah.
actually, he told me to try it and see in a spot and see if he'll do it, but you just spray it on, leave it on there for a little bit and hose it off, so.
Yeah,
If I'm not mistaken, I think I'm right on this, there's a gentleman in Clark County. Can't think of his first name right now, and the last name's Tedesco. And I think he is actually a sculptor and works with the bronze. We might want to try to contact him.
you know,
Did-
get over it?
Yeah, I can get all of it.
But Jan told me, he goes on the sculpture itself, or on the statue, he said, take a corner, go get you some Dawn soap, and just wash a corner of it. He goes, you'd be surprised, it probably will come clean.
Maybe.
Honestly, I was more, and that's true, I know, but I'm more worried about the top part of it, but, yeah, I thought, is that bronze or what is that?
It's all bronze.
It's all
And
bronze.
they're like, you gotta be really careful.
That's
But he-
why the
Yeah.
concrete's green.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I saw that, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm for what
Okay.
you said, you wanna call
And
it
Veterans
whatever.
Day is still on in November as we get closer and start setting that up.
Yeah.
And I'll make sure that everybody knows. And I think this Veterans Day, I've talked to Tom, I think that the Scott County Veteran Services is also gonna add a wreath out there. I just think it's proper. We're here to serve our veterans, just like the VFW and the American Legion, so I just think that we need to be kind of, not represented, but they need to know that we're here as well. So,
You and Tom throwing a good program there in May.
thank you.
I sat there and I could tell that it was important to you.
Very, very much so. Thank
Appreciate
you.
you.
I appreciate it, and I will, next see now she's asleep.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we have, a letter of resignation to the 911 EMA Director's position. Jessica, we're sorry to see you go. So, but again, we want you to have a happy life and enjoy it to the best, whatever's best for you. So, again, she has, don't wanna go home now.
Magic word, bye-bye.
Yeah. But she has submitted a letter of
That other word.
yeah, I went blank here. So anyway, resignation, and at that point, I do understand, and now we're gonna be, you're here till the 12th, is that right?
Correct.
Okay, so between now and October the 12th, we need to make a decision on, we have two choices, I think, is to open it back up for applications and take applications and go through the process again, or I think we could go back to the applications that we had and pick somebody from the previous bunch, I think, is what, that's what we need to do. Make that decision, and then whether we wanna open it back up or whether we wanna just go, because I think it's what, 6 months that the applications are good for?
They're good for 6 months.
And then I think we could go back to them, or whatever the
Well, just
pleasure
my thoughts
is.
was that was the top 3 candidates. So to me, it wouldn't make sense to go back to the other ones. But I'm open to what everybody wants to do, but I mean, where I'm concerned, the sooner we get over, the better.
I'm fine with that. Take the,
That's unfair to everybody. If we-
I don't think we need to open it up again. I think we can utilize the applications we have.
Okay,
Uh,
with that being said, if you want to utilize what we got, do we want to look through the applications that we had before, and do you want to re-interview anybody?
I don't.
I don't necessarily think we have to do that, cause some of those we interviewed twice, so.
Yeah, I mean, I think we know who we got and we,
Okay,
If you do post the position open, since it's gonna be vacated, technically by our handbook, it has to be posted on the bulletin board for 5 days if there is an open position. If it's your desire to move the candidates forward that were left from the last round that we took from the 911, I can do that. And then if there's anybody new, they have the opportunity for 5 days, unless you wanna make a motion to make an exception at this point in time due to the quick turnaround of this position, that you forego that. Just a publicly acknowledge that you wanted to waive the 5-day posting and go immediately to seeking
We
a
could vote on
candidate from the
tonight.
applications that you took last
we
time.
could go on tonight, couldn't we, if we did that?
That, yeah,
If
I
we
believe
wanted
if
to.
you made that motion, you can make your decision as soon as you wanted to, if you voted to accept it
So what
this
you're
time.
saying is if we have to post it for 5 days, if someone applies within that 5 days, we could accept that application, or,
or not?
I think that's fine.
Uh,
We may have somebody.
I'll do whatever you guys want, but I'd like to get it over with, because I think I know what our top 3 were, but that's okay. I'm with you, whatever you want to do, guys. I'm not-
Okay,
You may have somebody, and I'm not saying you do, I mean,
Yeah.
that I've always,
but by the handbook, we would be required to post it for 5 days.
And it does not have to go on the web, it does not have to go in the paper, it just has to be a public posting for 5 days. That job is opened again.
We could waive that.
If you wanted to waive that, if you could vote to waive it in this particular incident, not to deviate it from all time, but just in this particular
Yeah.
situation. You could vote to waive that and then just go ahead and set up your interview or don't interview or whatever you decide to do. And if you don't do that, do you want to make that on your October 1st meeting agenda to
Yeah.
point?
You'd have it done by then.
I think, here's, I mean, just my thought, I think, if we wanna post it, if you would get the posting out, it would go out actually, it would come out you could post it next Monday,
We could do the 21st through the 25th and we would be compliant.
compliant. And then we could make a decision on that on October the 1st, right?
You meet, actually, October the 7th is your next meeting.
Why?
There's a 2-week
Why?
gap.
Oh, yeah, that's Thursday, so it'd be the 7th.
It should be gone the 12th.
Yeah, and it should be on the 12th, yeah.
And so that'll be 5 days before she's gone.
I'm okay with that. You guys
I'm
are-
fine.
Okay, yeah.
All right.
So we
Post
will put
it, post it, yeah, in-house, I think,
So we could possibly get 4 or 5 new candidates.
possibly,
Yeah.
possibly none.
Well, that's a possibility too,
Yeah,
I mean,
possibly none,
yeah,
but
Yeah.
but we could, yeah,
okay.
and, yeah,
And I'm just saying that because we could end up having to start interviewing people again.
I think,
I think we had 3 good candidates.
yeah.
That's where I would like to do it, but okay, all right. All right,
And I'm good, yeah, I'm good with that, and I think it's gonna come down to that's what I think, that's what I believe, but I think it's gonna be fulfilling our duties as, to the handbook and all that, so that's what we'll do on that. So October the 7th, we'll make that, name a new director. Regardless, how's that? Whether we get
That's fine.
anybody or not. COVID-19 testing site remodel update.
Right, I'm handling that one too.
You're handling that one too?
Yes, council did approve at their, meeting last time, for the $25,000 that Michelle and Patty asked for in addition to the $100,000 grant for the COVID testing site to remodel the old health department location. For that purpose, there has been some rearrangement of that. I know they presented a tentative budget to you all. This is the current estimate. of the remodeling, council set aside $25,000, anticipating that they're gonna get this reimbursed through the CARES Act or FEMA. FEMA does cover COVID testing, community-based testing sites, so we're hoping that we'll get this through FEMA, and the other 25% through the COVID CARES. But now, they have saved money in the painting because the inmates, they've chipped in. They've done a lot of the outdoor work. They're helping, Josh is laying the flooring. We didn't have to go to an outside company. We're buying the flooring direct and then laying the flooring. They have saved enough money that there is a windows and glass estimate and a gutter estimate quote that you can see that their grand total with new windows and gutters is still under the $25,000 mark because they saved so much. Because I think you guys remember Mike saying something about $6,000 for painting and whatnot. So those were just quotes by a vendor, so we kind of had the high end mark. So if they just like to have your approval to go ahead and do the windows and the gutters because they are still coming in under $25,000, which council set aside for that. So if you guys just say by consensus or vote to do it, we'll get those windows and gutters in there too.
I'm good with it,
2. Me too.
yeah,
Okay, so just consensus to move forward, right?
yeah.
That's mostly all inmate help too.
They have done a lot with inmate labor out there.
All right, claim consideration. We have one here from AFC International. Gas monitor, is what that, I guess is,
Miss Jess, are you still here?
Yes.
Okay.
what is it?
You're straight behind me.
You're fine.
Yes, this is a conclusion of a grant, I believe, right?
Correct.
Okay. And this is payment for that, and it needed to go out before the October batch. As you can see, you're not gonna be approving the next batch of claims till October 7th. So this one needed to be sent to comply with the grant deadlines.
Okay, and that's, in the amount of $3,158.64. You wanna do all these at once then?
It's fine.
Clerk, of,
So on the gas monitor, what exactly are you using that for?
No, we'll go to the fire departments.
Oh,
It
okay,
was a grant for the fire
okay,
departments.
all right.
and then, you have, the clerk of courts here, this is for the,
It's
what's this for,
magistrate
annual
fees.
fee for the magistrate?
There's a court portal that she has to have membership dues to, and hers are due now. See, she came on mid-year and some have annual dues. She's due for her court portal dues for her individual registration, and it's $180, I guess, annually.
Okay,
And it's to the clerk of the courts in Indianapolis.
okay, and, this goes to Nutrien Ag Solutions, and this here is, looks like for chemicals for weed control, and this is through the county highway department, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. $480 on that. Motion to approve all these claims, the 3,
Yes, I'll make a motion.
second?
I just got a question about the court system. I mean, I know we don't pay their salaries, and we pay their admin. Do we pay all their supplies and their fees and everything else?
There's salary and benefits coming through the state, but other than that, we support the courts, and this is part of their court work. It's part of their job that they do.
So I mean, if they
for our
wanted to come
county.
in here and just give us any kind of bill, we're required to pay it? And I'm not talking about this one particularly, I'm just asking an overall question about,
If it's if there's a line, they have certain expenses, and if council appropriates for that expense, obviously they have to have a bona fide claim and a bona fide expense. But council that's part of the budget process, is they
So
look at
so
what
I
they
guess what I'm
spend.
saying is that we don't have any control over them. We don't pay their salary, but we pay everything else that has to do with them.
And the prosecutor and deputy prosecutor is basically the same way. They operate on behalf of the state for our county's purpose, And so we have to, like Purdue, you supply a secretary to them, Soil and Water, you supply a secretary to them. We do the same thing with the officers operating within our county. It's for our county's benefit that they're here, so we have to pay for the
But we don't have-
overhead, fixed expenses, like this,
Yeah, I
operating
understand that, but I
expenses.
guess where I'm getting at is that it's kind of like one of these situations, and I know it's probably the way it's set up, but I mean, we have zero control over what happens, but we pay for it.
Kind of, council still has a lot of, appropriation power when it comes to budgets. If, say, for example, the council decided they couldn't, our budget wouldn't hold that much court staff or as much staff in my office or whatever, council could cut that budget, and then obviously there would be a layoff that results from that. So council has the purse string, so to speak. So they can control some of this through the council's budget appropriation part.
I'll second that motion.
Unanimous. Okay, payroll ratification for September 11th.
I'll make a motion.
Make that unanimous. The minutes,
I'll make a motion, I saw it too.
okay, motion made to accept the minutes of August 19th and August 24th special meeting,
Second.
unanimous.
You
And,
seconded the payroll, right, John?
I'm sorry?
You seconded the payroll?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And this here is,
This is gonna be interesting.
oh, yeah, yeah, and I didn't sign anything on it.
All right,
This here is just a draft here, and I think, basically for next year's
Yes, sir.
holidays.
Before you leave, congratulations. Okay, all right.
Thank you.
This is just a draft.
Drafts, to look over, and we can accept these later,
October the 7th,
Oc-
because the
October
courts like
7th.
them, so they can start.
or December 31st, we could do that, you know.
Okay, I'll let you deal with the judges, how's that? And I'll try to sneak this in here early enough to where you guys won't wait till
Well, October
November.
the 2nd, we don't have a meeting, do we?
7th.
7th.
Seventh.
Yeah. So, yeah,
And
we can do that then, but look it over there and see
look
what
that
you
over,
think.
because the only thing we did differently is next year there is no election cycle. So we added MLK to January, and we are actually down a holiday. So it's not any more than what you would normally do. So just, I wanted you to be aware of that. You can adjust it however you need to, but we did add MLK. We took 2 away and added 1.
Okay,
Okay.
all right. All right, and at that point, let's talk about the EMS service a while. We left
All right, be gentle, that's all I gotta say.
Left the best for last.
That's what we say, yeah.
All right, guys, how you doing?
Good.
Well, we got good news, we got bad news, and we got some pretty decent news.
Well,
Which, how do you want it?
I guess however you decide to throw her out there, how's that?
Let's just do it. All right. So I've been working with Tammy. I've been meeting with her and Teresa once a week since you guys appointed me. So we've become pretty good friends. Talked to 2 of you about some maintenance issues. Mike, I know you haven't been because you've been kind of out and doing your thing. So with her, FEMA and the COVID monies, we're trying to appropriate some equipment with that. We're looking at more going towards the FEMA side than we are the COVID-19 money. I come up with a list of stuff that we needed. I can adjust that. I'm just wanting your guys' permission to pursue that with Tammy at this point until we can better the service. She has a list. I have an addendum to what I've already submitted to her to reappropriate what we're trying to do. So just to let you guys know where we're standing out at with that.
What, I guess my only question is on the, now, through the FEMA, the CARES Act money is separate from FEMA, correct?
Correct.
And, so, I don't know what the FEMA side is available, on the CARES Act side. 700,
774,000.
yeah, So we just gotta be careful that we don't
That's part of
overextend.
this,
Okay,
that we'll be.
This is collaboration, that's what we gotta do.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
so I'm gonna say what he's doing is hardware, okay, versus, kinda like hardware versus software. With FEMA monies, you could possibly be limited. I talked to, the FEMA helpline today, and, some of the things with FEMA, and maybe all of the things with FEMA, are gonna have to be paid for, and your paid invoice is submitted for reimbursement. So we really wanna be very sure that we're gonna get anything that we spend back from them. So I'll be working very closely. I've been given 2 names that work for the Department of Homeland Security through the state that works very closely in conjunction with FEMA. So I can work on getting some of that, pretty much their blessing, and hopefully be able to get council to appropriate the funds to pursue his hardware. He's not talking about overtime, he's not talking
No.
about those kind of things. He's talking about tangible items that we will contain as an asset here for the county,
Large
such as
budget.
lifters and, you know, that type of thing. So,
Okay.
and your monitors that,
I got new quotes.
new quotes on that help with the cardio and the pulmonary, which is very tied to COVID. So he's got some very
Right.
larger ticket items, and I didn't want to last meeting allude to this because I wasn't for sure what he was gonna
Right.
come up with, so it wasn't my.
So
time to
the
speak.
first part of this thing, what we're trying to do, I'm trying to apply for 2 new trucks. I'm trying to apply, do you want me to give the monetary value of that?
Whenever he initially gave me his list, it was over $800,000 of equipment.
No, I'm asking for the Christmas tree, and I know what we're gonna get. So I'm looking
Not
at
get
2
to-
different ways.
We hope to
Like
get
Charlie
the,
Brown.
we hope to get the skirt that goes around it, you
Yeah.
know?
So basically what I'm doing is I took quotes from 5 different ambulance builders. These ambulances have to be already built. These are demonstration models, which means they have all the options on these trucks. These trucks with all the options on them, with the power load systems, the new stretchers, we're looking at around $280,000 a truck. But all the OEM equipment, all the warranty, all that kind of stuff is still on those trucks. So we have went through multiple builders, we have went through multiple agencies that sell those, and all the trucks that I priced are coming in at about that same price. So nobody's higher than the other person. It's all the same straight across the board. According to the CARES Act, these trucks have to be delivered by 12/31. All these trucks are already built, sitting ready to go. First come, first serve, whoever the money gets the trucks. So,
Now, and again, that's the CARES Act money. What about the FEMA money?
The FEMA money is a 75% coverage. So spend 100,000, FEMA will give you 75 back. The other 25 is billable then to CARES. So if there's a way to bridge that gap, that's where I try to come
Okay.
in, okay? So
Okay.
we've already got a stack this big of things that we have got as reimbursables. We have already wrote the check, all right? We're just looking for money to come back. If we can get some of that money rolling and get something back, we may have some seed money that if we get a guarantee that we're gonna get approved, it may help lessen the blow what council has to appropriate somewhere else. We just turn that money around. So if we can work this out and get a kind of a rolling wave thing going here, we might come out all right.
we're only the 4th county in the state of Indiana to ask for this information, for this monies. Ripley County's got money, Washington County's got money, Knox County, which is a private provider, has asked for this money as well. So we are the 4th one in this group to ask for such materials.
So at that point, this is basically over,
Well, you're looking
almost
for-
2/3 of what you was talking about.
Oh, I think it's bigger.
Yeah.
What I'm trying to do is, if we can get CARES Act, FEMA money for the large ticket items, the smaller ticket items, is stuff that the county can afford to do. I will not be over budget. I'm just trying to get a wish list together of what we absolutely have to have. The priority, do I need 2 trucks? After this last week, probably would not be a bad idea.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about that here in a second. But, you know, we're heading in the right direction by doing this, by looking up the resources. I've priced multiple trucks, so we can see what we can do with that. The second one, the big ticket item that they were trying to go and increase their budget on was monitors. Monitors does fall underneath the CARES Act. My new quote on that today, because there were some things I had to add to comply with that. And the monitors alone is $345,000.
Those are mandated though, aren't they?
Yeah, but I'm following all CARES Act protocol. Every option that we can get on these things, we're getting per what their request is and their outline is. And that's been 100% across the boards as far as what ambulance services have applied for, they have got on those. So that's gonna save, I think the budgeted amount for that was $200,000, just off the top of my head. So we're adding some monitors because we're in need of something, because we're slacking in a specific area. So that would bring us up to total par where we need to be. I've priced these. Yeah, well, I'm talking about 4 additional over what they had already priced, and that's for the response units. I have talked to John Jones. I did price 2 new response vehicles underneath the CARES Act, and the reason why we did that, we can get those for restocking equipment and stuff when we go to the scene for community preparations. And I did have those, she does have those numbers. We priced exactly what we had. I think the price was $40,000 each with the same package of what we have. One's a pickup truck, one's a Durango. Now those aren't totally equipped, but they would have the monitor, which saves us a bunch of money. So just letting you know what we're trying to do. Large ticket items only. The other stuff is minor. Stair chairs, off the top of my head, I think that bid was right around $20,000. But there again, the large ticket items, all this stuff would be covered. The only thing I have not included on that, and that was because I've just started looking at those, and that is ventilators. Apparently we do 5 to 15 ventilator transports a month from the hospital. Our ventilator is about wore out. Scott does not have a ventilator that is suitable for transportation. So I will be adding 2 ventilators onto that. Rough guess estimate, $20,000 buys 2 ventilators, which saves us having to have a 3rd person, because right now we cannot do patient care appropriately with somebody having to manually breathe for that patient. So that's something that's going to be on the list. I have to reprioritize. If I don't get 2 trucks, that's fine. I'd seen how the monitors, the vent, and the stair chairs versus 2 new trucks, because I can reach chassis. 3 of my trucks I can reach chassis, no questions asked. So that's something we can save money on later on. And we've found some other monies that we have available out there that we've reappropriated for other things. So just to let you guys know, I told you we'd save some money. We're getting ready to go into that here in just a few minutes as well.
So your Christmas tree wish list is roughly $1 million.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not gonna deny it. It's $1 million.
Okay.
But like I said, I wanted to get the high, if we can get federal aid.
And that's the thing, if we can, and we need to
Medical
verify.
transport is part of FEMA.
Right.
So let's see if we can get, but again, now we're dealing with a government entity.
Right.
We need an answer.
Yeah.
Because again, the CARES Act money runs out midnight 12/31 of this
And-
year.
right.
So if we can get an answer on that, then I think that's something that, I mean, I'm all for this. If you can, you know,
We're
even
gonna get
if,
approved for what we can get approved for.
yeah,
so.
if we can get approved through that for the ambulances and everything that we need here, I mean, even 75%, you know,
You
I
spend
think
$1 million, you're gonna get
Well, the whole-
750,000.
yeah.
The whole thing here is, because I believe, according to what I've read, the new budget for CARES starts on 1/1/21. That should allow $78 billion for our disposal. Whatever Indiana gets allotted is what they get allotted. What we can't get out of this first round, we're gonna try to get out of that second round.
Okay.
So if we can max out this first round as much as we can, I mean, even if we decided that council couldn't appropriate for one of the buses, then we could maybe pay for that out of CARES, which taps in $230,000, we'll say.
Right.
And other expenses that we've got, then maybe in 1/1, we can try to get another one.
And what I would, yeah, and what I would do on that would be re-chassis 2 trucks. Because at that point, the county would be, we would ask for less money for a re-chassis than we would have to ask for a new truck. I could probably re-chassis 2 trucks for the price of one. And then we would be good for another re-chassis on those 2 trucks, and I'd have 2 more trucks that could be re-chassied again. So at that point, we'd be good as far as truck maintenance is concerned.
Okay.
So there's that. Custodial agreement, apparently
You
the.
guys agree that we can just pursue this however is most cost effective and go
Yeah,
ahead and put
I mean,
him in line for all this?
In my opinion, it just makes sense. I mean, you know, the money's available out here and through either FEMA or through the CARES Act. Only thing we have to be careful about, there's other people that has asked for things that we've said, okay, you know, that's maybe not covered through FEMA, but it's covered through the CARES Act. And so, you know, you can't, you know, it's kind of like promising everybody, everything in your wallet and nobody gets nothing at the end. So we just
So-
gotta make sure we,
Right.
Yes, so to kind of recap, the first thing is we're gonna get back everything we've spent. So that is your first approval basically for all the reimbursables, whatever works best for FEMA or for CARES. The second thing is we had a request from the highway department that was around 170+ thousand. Then the third one was the health department, and then now we have the EMS. I just wanted to recap the ones that have come before you to say, please, because you guys are the ones that's in control of who does the public assistance reimbursement requests. So I just want to make sure that you guys know this is where we're at right now, because we are tallying up quite a bit, and I kind of
Okay.
get my footing back in
and
here.
let's make sure we understand where we're at.
Okay.
Health department basically asked for 100,000.
25,000 for
Okay.
the remodel of that for the COVID testing. The 100, we can't
Yeah.
really reserve because there's no way to reserve it, other than you just say, okay, nobody give us anything else, because we might spend 100,000 between now and the end of the year on the health department, and I don't know that you're ready to do that just yet. So the first one was anything we spent in PPE, supplies, anything that's reimbursable, we've
Do
already.
we have an idea what that is?
I think the sheriff's office is a little over $100,000 already, what we've got totals on in there. So, yeah, we're gonna be playing that situation where what do we throw into FEMA that we can get 75% back, no questions asked. Because FEMA is, you've got to spend it, then you get it back. So we've already got spent, so we can get 75% of that pushed towards FEMA
Yeah.
and do the other 25 through CARES and leave CARES open for some of the things that we might not be able to spend up front for and just wait for the check.
Yeah,
So,
I'm good with that.
okay, and the
Yeah.
second thing was the highway, and the third thing was the 25,000 for health department, and
Yeah.
now he's EMS, so.
Yep.
So where was the number you were talking about at our last meeting when you said we're probably gonna be tapped out on the CARES Act fund? I mean, who was the other person that?
It was Shannon, he had talked to me about this, so this is, I didn't know exactly what he was gonna ask for, so I didn't really wanna say or open
I
up
was just
that.
wondering if
Yes.
there's
No,
another person
this
that's-
is it, this is
Yeah.
all I know
Okay.
of, yes,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
Gotta go big, man, or go home.
Pardon me?
Gotta go big or go
Oh,
home.
that's the way I did it.
yeah.
All right,
Why
so,
not? Yeah.
I mean, I just wanna try to max out what we can get. 2021, we're gonna do the same thing.
Okay.
So that way it doesn't cost us anything out. We get total reimbursement.
Well, I know Washington County got an ambulance, so I don't know how I
Right.
didn't know they were doing it that way, but I.
Yeah, they got an
CARES
ambulance.
Act, I think, didn't it?
Yeah, CARES
They
Act
went
got them
to
an
theirs.
ambulance, it also got them a non-transport and some Lucas devices and some monitors. Ripley County got 6 Lucas devices, monitors, and I think ventilators, so, I mean, it's, you know, I was really surprised that Knox County got something because it is a private owned entity, so it's a private provider. All right, so moving on, the custodial service agreement, this is what was signed before. Tyler, for whatever reason, had let her go. It's basically $400 a month. We do have the money in the account to pay that and to continue her services. It's basically $100 a week is what it adds up to being.
Money's already there.
Money's already there. I've had Pat run the numbers twice. We are set for her to do that. That is not-
I'm assuming it's needed or you wouldn't be.
Absolutely it is, because I can't keep up with it, and it's not been done since
Yeah.
she was let loose.
No, I don't know this for sure, but I think the reason was they thought they could do it themselves out there, and it
Yeah,
didn't
it's-
work out apparently.
No, oh, no.
Yeah.
Nope.
Maybe good intentions, but
Correct. And there again, I'm not pointing fingers, I just
Yeah.
know that something happened. But we need her back. We gotta get this done. It's the same amount of money you were paying her before, nothing's changed. Same agreement you had, it's just changed on the date.
So is it a service or an individual?
Yeah, this
It's,
is.
yeah, Joyce Hickman,
Cleaned up, I think she cleans the courthouse.
courthouse too.
Is that the way
Yeah.
Josh hired?
So-
Whoa, wait a minute.
No.
Can't you do that?
Oh, it's not Marcia, it's, she cleans the health department. Hickman
Yeah.
cleans the health department.
Okay,
Marcia cleans
Yes.
the courthouse,
Oh,
Yep,
yeah.
you're good.
Yeah.
It's a
Well, but the
contractual.
kicker there is that if the health department's paying her, can the EMS pay her?
Yes, oh yes, that's no problem. She's a contractual, so we're good.
Okay.
We're good.
you wanna see that? Yeah, you wanna see that?
You need a motion on that?
Yeah, I do.
I'll make a motion.
and I'll second.
I'm unanimous.
All right,
Go ahead and sign it while you got it there.
Yeah.
All right.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank
congratulations.
you all
Yeah,
for the opportunity. Thank you for a great 18 years.
well, thank you.
Well, no problem. I appreciate you all.
All
I'll
right.
talk to you guys.
Yeah, what's
See
the
ya.
Jess?
You're just not going, you're going, aren't you?
Huh?
You're not just going, you're going.
Oh, I'm moving out of state.
That's what I-
The whole nine, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Getting
that's what I heard.
married and starting in a whole new state and
Well,
get to be a wife and a mom and
Good luck.
all that fun stuff at 40. Who would have thought? That's gonna be the crazy cat lady, so.
See ya.
Thank you.
Bye, Jess.
the next thing I wanna bring up is a credit application for Premier Ag out of Seymour. Apparently we have an account with them, but this is gonna be specifically for EMS. And I know you're looking at me like, what are we doing this for?
Mhm.
Let me explain to you. 2019, we pumped exactly 14,000 gallons of diesel, 2,000 gallons of gasoline. You're pumping straight out of the pump price, which is basically $2.99 on the gallon for diesel, $2.59 on the gallon for gasoline. So I called Premier. I talked to you about gasoline, diesel futures. We can do that at this point. So basically, I took 2019's numbers with how many gallons we pumped at that price to what our new price is going to be. The exact quote on pricing on that fuel is $2.04 per gallon on the diesel fuel and $1.71 for gasoline. So basically, at the end of the day, we're gonna save ourselves $14,000 to go with our own pumps. That's a 500 gallon diesel, that's a 300 gallon gasoline tank. We don't have to have a security system on it, but I really like to have it on there. So basically $5,500 buys the security system, and I can back and see how many gallons I'm pumping a day. I can download that stuff straight to my computer. Everybody has to have their own sign-in stuff.
You need this one?
So just to let you guys know.
Yeah, and that was the next thing I would say on the
Yeah.
security system.
The city
They
is-
they would have a number that
Yeah.
you'd know exactly who's pumping it,
I know
correct?
who's pumping it, what truck's pumping it, and I know the mileage that they're
Where
pumping.
are you talking about this? You won't put in this.
This will be right behind the station.
Okay.
They're double hold tanks. We do not have to have a containment system for that. I will just get with Jill down to Highway Garage, make a little gravel pad, and then we can set the tanks. We already have the electricity in place to make that happen. They needed one circuit to do that. We actually have 2 circuits out there to do that. The city of Scottsburg has the next size up. It's around $10,000 for their fuel system. I don't think we need a fuel system that big for what we're trying to do. The bulk plant's in Austin, so they can run us fuel down there at any time that we need that.
Question I have is, I know Carver has Premier and you're looking at Premier. Is there any other companies out here that do that?
I don't know if Bishop's does that. The one good thing about Premier is I can lock our prices in for 1 year. And that way I know exactly what my fuel cost is gonna be, and I know I will not have an influx
If it goes up, it stays the same.
Same price for the whole entire year. I lock it in March because the prices I have now are good from October 1st until March 1st.
The other part of that, Tammy, does he have to bid that? Since we're buying bulk fuel?
Which is,
Yeah,
I think it's a
Sure.
service, I don't think you have to.
if it's,
Well, I mean, we're doing it for
Well, we do it for the county highway.
is it,
coal, yeah.
what's your fuel budget a year? What was your budget?
I don't know exactly what my budget is on that. That
I'm
was,
just
that was one of the higher, that was
If
one
it's
of the higher.
under, if it's over 150,000, you have to
No.
take bids.
For last year, they pumped $40,000, $887 worth. So I would say their budget was probably 50,000 if I was
And
guessing.
under 50, you could just take quotes. If it's under 50, that's why I was asking how much it
I
was.
just didn't know what other people were. I mean, I know Jacoby does it, I know Boo does it.
Boo, and I thought about Boo, but I don't think he can guarantee me the price. If he can, then I'll call him and ask.
Cause I know I saw him dumping fuel at, Caldwell's. So,
But I figure with the county already having the
And that's, now Premier is gonna supply the tank.
they supply everything. We supply nothing.
yeah.
I mean, for me to go right now, they can bring me the tanks right now and pump. We can pump starting tomorrow. But I just want to have that surveillance system on it. That way I can watch the mileages on the truck. I can download how much gas we pump daily.
I mean, I use that system. I mean, we use it at the fire department for
Right.
at the city, so.
And it's pretty
I
accurate.
Put my code in and
Right.
what pump I'm pumping off
Yeah.
of and pump it.
Yeah, we're actually going to have magnetic strips that'll activate that stuff. So I know exactly who it is. I know their name, I know their driver's number, I know the gallons, I know the truck number. All of which are requirements for that system to work. And that's the only way I want to
Is
do
it
this.
video?
Not video, but
It's all computerized.
chronographically time stamped.
The thing about the one at the city, I can type somebody else's code in there and hit the pump and it thinks it's going in somebody else's car, but it's technically in my vehicle, so.
Right.
Or our trucks, I mean, you can type,
We've got the vehicle keys,
yeah.
which determine what vehicle it goes in, and then we've got individual driver IDs
Yeah.
that we punch in.
Yeah. So I just wanted the added feature so that way I know what truck and what person's pumping that fuel in there. That way we don't get confused.
I guess my question is, and go back to the numbers, for last year, how much there was an average of a diesel?
You average, we pumped, well, you guys pumped 1,179 gallons a month of diesel fuel.
And it was, how much?
$2.89 a gallon.
That's probably about right. 'Cause I
Well, right
think-
now, it's what, 234?
No, it's, well, on average, it's probably about
Right.
234, which is where we get that.
And then again, your gasoline this time last year was $2.59, and that was the year pretty much that stayed within them same price ranges for the entire year. So I averaged it out, and those averages are about pretty concurrent with the entire year.
Right now, it's $1.60 or something.
And it's $1.84 if you go to Walmart, but if you go to Salem, it's $2 a gallon. If you go to Mitchell's, about the cheapest place you can buy gas at Sinclair, and it's usually 30 cents cheaper there than it is anywhere else.
Moto was $1.59 last month.
What do you do, I guess, if you're running pretty hard, are you still gonna have a card that they, what happens if they got to go to Indianapolis and on a transfer and they never looked at the gauge and all of a sudden they're stuck out there? Are we gonna have a card that they can buy fuel somewhere else?
If we had a long distance transfer, we would have a card that they could do. From here to Indianapolis, even if they were running hard, we're still gonna have enough fuel to get back. We're not gonna have an issue with that. I know.
Other
that was
than the
one
fact
concern.
if they was on a run and come in and just absolutely forgot or overlooked and accidents, things
That
like
does
that
happen.
happen, then, I wouldn't want them to be stuck out there.
Oh, they're not
without
gonna be stuck, cause I can always go up there and get them.
Yeah.
We'll make sure that they have fuel.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And I think that's just kind of a safer
I
way to
think
do
it's
it.
something to look into, like we were talking about earlier. The only issue or thought I would have is spills and containment, because there's a pond right behind where you're talking about.
Yeah, and I've talked to them about that, and he told me we can also do what the city did, we can pig it as well. But as far as, breaching the tanks, we're not gonna be breaching the tanks. And the pumps do pop off whenever the fuel tanks get high. So we can pig it if we had to, that's not a big issue, the pigs aren't gonna be that much to put around that gas, or around that gravel strip. That would be why I wanna use heavy lime, rock on that, pack it in tight.
I think it's something to look at.
So, like I said, $14,000 is a pretty significant savings.
That's significant savings.
Do we need to do something, or just?
That buys you a couple of monitors, I don't know.
Yeah, I wished. I wished it did. Well, all I'm gonna try to do is, I'm gonna leave you guys the information here with the pump, gallons we pumped, all that kind of stuff from 2019. Here's the application for that. I don't know that you have to re-sign it because you already have one for the county highway garage. So I'll let you guys, here's that information in its entirety.
Okay.
And I will talk to Bill, which is the same guy that sells you the fuel for down there at the county highway garage. And like I said, he's in Seymour. Truck maintenance wise, well, we'll start on the good note. Good note is, we've been averaging $70,000 per check when we get them cut from the billing agency. Today I will say that we actually received one, and Bob's got the checks there that has to sign them for deposit. We actually claimed in $125,000. So we were up $50,000 on reimbursement, which is awesome.
Good.
So we have that as a positive note. The gas thing would be a positive note. We do have some other issues, however. Fleet maintenance wise, not in a good situation. I do have the money to cover what we have to do. I've got 2 trucks, so I've got 3 trucks with no brakes. Those trucks are presently off the road. One of those are down at Wheatley's. And I'm talking total rebuild. I'm talking nothing left of the brakes. I'm talking nothing left of the rotors. I'm talking nothing left of the calipers on the front or back of those trucks. So what I'm doing at this point is having new brakes put on them trucks down at Wheatley's. I'm also having the front wheel bearings checked. I'm also having rear wheel bearings checked. And we busted some brake lines because of the brakes were wore out. So with that said, we also have an electrical issue with that truck. That truck's not coming back until it's fixed. Point blank. Truck number 2 that was down at the county highway garage. I talked to you guys about it. Mike, I'll fill you in when you want to need to know about it. Or later on. Basically, they want to do an oil change on it. They did that. Somebody told them to do a brake job on it. Talked to you 2 guys about it. Basically what I've done, the county highway, I went to Jerry, he told me I could use his guy. The county highway went ahead and put the pads on. The truck's still offline for the reason of, I want to check them rear brakes, I want to check them bearings, and I want to check that truck out before I put it online. Because I'm 99% sure that that truck is in the same shape as the other truck. And I'm not putting it on the road until I know for sure it's safe. Once those 2 Fords are serviced to 450 4-wheel drive trucks, then we'll move on to the Chevys. And we'll go through the front brakes, we'll go through the rear, we'll check all the upper and lower ball joints, we'll check the bearings on those trucks as well. So we're gonna make them safe. I know one truck has an air conditioning problem, that will be fixed.
It's gonna get cold weather.
Yeah, well, I know it is, and I got a couple crew members who know that, but it's still pretty hot. I know.
I got a question about the brakes,
Yes.
because I brought this question up some time ago. Is Jill's people that's doing the brake jobs a certified brake mechanic?
That's why another reason why that truck's not on the road.
Because I
I
thought
know,
we
he has
talked
done-
about that once before.
And I will claim ignorance on that because I did not know that conversation took place, and I kind of got stuck in the middle of that. John was gracious enough to show me the pads and show me the rotors. And when I say in a bad condition, I'm talking about the metal plate that holds the pads onto it. Those were ground down to the caliper piston.
I don't know how you get that.
Well, that's another topic for discussion on our meeting. But I have a method to fix that problem, and we are going to fix
When you
it.
do a truck check, that means the truck check, and
I
there's a
don't know.
PM, like changing the oil, you check the brakes, I mean.
And I found the actual maintenance request log for that place and nothing's been filled out since December of last year. I'm not trying to, I'm just saying, maintenance is slacked, and
Well-
we've gotta get it caught up.
But I mean, this goes to any vehicle the county owns. I don't think anybody needs to be, if it was my vehicle, I'll change the pads, I'll change the rotors, but I don't think we need to be putting county employees and driving on a state or county road with somebody else doing brake work that's not certified.
Wheatley's is ASI certified.
Oh, I know Wheatley.
That's why I'm taking them trucks down there, and that's why that ambulance, another reason why that truck is offline until I get it down to Wheatley's to
I
make sure.
appreciate that, but like I
Cause
said,
I'm not putting somebody else's life at risk.
Nope.
And I totally get that, and I totally respect that, and I'm very particular about preventative maintenance.
Yep.
I cannot handle that with that being like that. So each one of these trucks are gonna be gone through. I've talked to Wheatley's today, they're working up a price for quarterly maintenance on the trucks. They're gonna do a total inspection of upper lower ball joints, wheel bearings, brakes, driveline, materials. The other issue is that the trucks have never been serviced as far as transmissions. And I know if we start servicing transmissions with trucks with 100,000 plus miles on them, we're gonna be replacing transmissions, and I don't wanna get into those at this point. Neither has the front and rear axles on them four-wheel drive trucks that never been serviced. Neither has the transfer cases. So when we start dropping fluid, and those trucks are averaging 150,000 miles, we're gonna start getting into trouble. So I'm not even gonna, unless it breaks, we'll maintain the fluid levels in it, but it'd be detrimental for us to change them at this point. Because we're gonna be dumping a ton of money into those trucks. I do have one Explorer that needs brakes, so I do need to find out where I can take that, or you guys recommend me to take that one non-transport unit to get brakes changed. Like I said, I know Jerry said I could use his mechanic, but there again, I want to, as a group, ask about that one.
Is he certified too? Because that was the question I had with him.
And they told me he is, but I wanna see it. Just-
I've worked with Jerry, I've talked to Jerry, he has no problem. But there again, I wanna come to you guys before I start making
I wanna
decisions
see
on
the
maintenance.
certification.
Yeah, I do too. I mean,
And it
it's
needs
a
to be
trust but
on.
verify thing, yeah.
Right, and that's fine, I have no
Yeah.
problem with that, and that's why I'll just probably take it down to Wheatley's, cause I know for this time, they're certified, there's not gonna be a question, or I can even take it out to John Jones. I don't care, with that said. I just want you guys to know that there's a deficit there, we are taking care of that as fast as we can. And I'm working with Wheatley's on a daily basis to get that truck.
Is
these
this
trucks
the good
serviced.
news or the bad news?
That was part of the bad news.
We need park.
Well, you know.
Well, I appreciate you letting us know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have been trying to talk with you guys, Mike, I know you've been busy, and I've been busy, and I've been still working this thing. My last day is the 28th down at IU, so I'll be on full time. We have gotten everything except the bank account switched over. Tammy has the information on how that's gonna transpire, and that'll be fixed tonight. So, to let you know, all that stuff is going well. We have $22,000 out for the paramedic class that has not been received. I served all that paperwork today. So $22,000 for the paramedic class was submitted to the people who own that debt. They are told to pay partial of that by September 30th with the balance due December 1st, and that gives them 25 days before they finish the class.
Now, that goes back for a while too, doesn't it? That's,
That,
yeah.
correct, that's this time last year. We've had some people in that class that did not pay since day one. So we've had some mismanagement on that end of it. We have three other accounts. I think that was right around $1,500 that we still need to look at and revisit, because from 2019, Pat's got the numbers on that, and we got to get that stuff going.
And I'm guessing this helps us with the past, but on the process in the future, people
Correct.
understand
Yeah, well,
this ain't something.
there was
we
some
don't ignore.
verbiage changed in the paramedic application, from my understanding, on how that's paid. I don't know who changed that or why it was changed. So we are visiting to do what used to be in place and how the verbiage was before. And Pat's got that verbiage, so we can change that. There were some changes made to the applications, so we're still trying to find that down. I've reached out to Jacob Carroll. He's meeting with me on Tuesday. You guys, are one at a time or whatever you want to do, want to come see him. I've also reached out to Tyler. We have talked today. He still wants to work part-time. Very civil. He understands where I'm coming from. I understand where he's coming from. We have some questions on some stuff that we can't find. We're going to find it, and we're going to use him to help us. My intentions are to Jacob to get this program back on track. There's been some misconceptions, some faults. We're going to recuperate that situation, I guess you could say, revisit that, make sure it doesn't get to that point again. I have hired 3 paramedics. I have hired 2 EMTs. One wants to go full-time, the other ones want to stay part-time. I have found a replacement for Jacob for the ambulance, or for the training side, for the bachelor's degree, to maintain the training status of the paramedic program. And they're willing to take it over, and Jacob's willing to let them take it over. So I've been working on behind the scenes, getting that done. We are planning on doing some classes for the state, which we don't have to have the bachelor's degree person for, but she is an instructor, and we are going to utilize her in that capacity. Some things that we have done, I've restructured the command staff. We will no longer have a deputy director. We have re-itemized that. When I go to council, I'm going to try to talk with Mike probably tomorrow, or at least by Monday, and what we're trying to do with that side item. So we're actually trying to cut some stuff out of that. We have money in the account to buy our own shredder. We're not going to have the shredding services anymore. We are going to purchase our own shredder. We have the monies to pay for that. It will be ours 100%, and we can shred as much stuff as we want. We have about 7 years, or I think she said we have 4 years of stuff to shred. So we're going to get to shred. I also told you guys about going green. We are in the steps of going green at this point. I'm looking at the software now to make us go green on a lot of stuff, such as scheduling, such as track checks, protocol wise, and all that kinds of stuff. I have a meeting on Wednesday, I believe, with that to get that program, the information. I've talked to Andrew about it, and there's no issues with the program that we're wanting to use. I've reached out to him. Also, I've reached out to 911, Jessica as well, for different things to start this process. So that's kind of where we stand. I did have to have a truck towed from Scottsburg that blew out the brake lines on the truck. So I do have an application for suburban towing. My plan is to use Goodens here in town, but if I have to have a long haul done, I can use Suburbans. They don't have to break the drive line down on the truck. They'll send me a 20-ton rollback. They can load the truck, haul it down to Wheatley's and leave it. And they're giving me a really good rate on the record part. I want to use local people. Goodens is a good service, and if I know they have the trucks that can haul our trucks. I don't think All Around has that stuff. I know Elliott's doesn't have a heavy enough record, so I just want to make sure when we do have to haul a truck, it's hauled appropriately and efficiently and safely. So with that said, I am working with local people first, and then going out to the surrounding communities to get somebody that can do the heavier haul stuff. So far, so good. We have a lot of people that are more positive out there. I know Pat's pretty happy. We've talked about stuff. I think a lot of it was about understanding what EMS does, taking the time to explain to her what's going on, why we think the way we do, introduce her to our culture and explain us a little bit better. John's been out, he's talked to everybody. You know, there are some people that are excited, there are some people that's not so excited, but we are making small steps, but we're making positive steps. So I have reached out to the hospital. I haven't got a call back yet, but I'm still working with them to get some stuff going out there as well. Nursing homes are next on my list, but I want to get the truck issue and some employment issues taken care of first. So I have looked at other alternatives to employment as far as employment budgets and scheduling to get us out of the overtime bracket. We are still working on that, so I'm not gonna get into a whole lot of detail on that. But we are looking at going to less than 40 hours a week. Get us out of the overtime bracket, which is one of the things I wanted to do to see how efficient that's gonna be. But I don't have the numbers exact yet, and I don't have the number of people exact yet before I start making that stuff go down. So what I told you I was gonna do in aspirations and goals, I think we're meeting it. I still think we're at 6 months. 1 year for total rebuild. We're still getting 30% return on our filed stuff, which is a national average is 30%. So we're not gonna get any more than 30%. A lot of it comes back to maintenance, talking to the people, finding out what they want, all that kind of stuff. So we're getting everybody's input, not just one person's, which is making a difference. We are planning on having classes first of the year, an instructor class, some EMT classes, also first responder classes. I'm going to talk to Dr. Crosdale about the paramedic program. I think I can turn that around, and I think I can make it a whole lot better than what it is. Not saying that Jacob had a bad deal, he did. And I'm glad he started what we started out with. Give us a foundation to build on, but I think we can make it better than what it was. And that's what I want to do. I want to make that our primary money provider, also with some secondary stuff.
How's Danny doing?
Danny's doing fine. He's still going to rehab 2 days a week. So he's getting his shoulder worked on. He's back to work. He's still at the high school. He has his class come up 1 day a week. I've been back to meet them. Everything's going pretty good
I'm
with them.
assuming he's unlimited.
He is unlimited, but his job description allows him to do what he's doing. He's not doing any heavy lifting or anything like that. So with him doing office duties, if he needs help doing CPR or something, I go back there and help him with that. If there's a specific item that's heavy, I go back there and make sure that he has what he needs to
I
make
know
his
it's
stuff.
hard for him. He wants to get in the vehicle.
He
and go.
does.
Yeah.
Well, and you know, he has a vehicle that he's driving back and forth
Yeah.
to rehab.
Yeah,
So-
I mean, he wants to get in an ambulance.
He does want to get in an ambulance, and that's good, because I want him there as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
He's talked to me about it. We've had another paramedic that just moved into the community, who works out there, is willing to do some on-call at night, so.
Well, I think he understands he can't do it until he's ready.
Right, and he knows that, and
Yeah.
Pat's told him that, and I've told him that, and he's totally with that,
I
so.
think we told him that too.
Did you, I think you told me, but I don't need no names or anything, but, you said you hired two
I hired-
paramedics.
I hired Ken Austin, he used to work up here for me for
Remember
Seymour.
Ken?
He's coming back, he's part-time, if I can work the schedule out, he will come on full-time. Heather Woods, used to be Heather Mount, my ex-wife. She's a nurse, also a paramedic at Schneck. She's the one with a bachelor's degree, she has been an instructor. She will be helping me with that side of the paramedic program as far as the coordinator. We can do the teaching, she's gonna do some teaching as well as helping out with, on the truck stuff. As far as EMTs are concerned, I did promote, and she'll kill me if I mispronounce her name, but yeah, I've got a couple EMTs that we're moving around because of that. The COVID truck, we have separated that out, so we know how many hours the COVID truck's working. We also know how many transports that are being made by that truck. They wanted to move their schedule around a little bit, and I told them we don't have enough data to do that. So at 30 days, we're gonna look at the data to see what we need to do.
So we still are running 3 trucks?
We are
Two-
still running
two
three.
full-time, one
2
part?
full-time, 1 part-time. Absolutely. They do not accrue any overtime. The only overtime I'm creating right now is if we have to plug a hole. And that's gonna be taken care of, pretty much.
So as far as turnover, I mean,
No, well, I mean, Phil's going part-time in October, because he's looking at moving out of state, doing something different.
Really?
He's, apparently he's thinking about moving out closer to his daughter. He's working a different schedule with his wife. I was told he might be going to Kentucky to be a police officer again.
Okay.
Billy Banna resigned full-time, he's gonna stay on part-time, he's gonna go to Washington County. So just to let you guys know what's going on, he said he wasn't happy, and I want him to be happy, and that's what I've told everybody out there. So,
So as far as relationships and the morale, it's up.
There's less tension out there, everybody's open. John's been out there, I know Bob's been out there. He's talked to him, he knows what's going on. I bought breakfast for him for 3 days last week. So we've worked out some other things too. Went to council, asked about a grill. They've approved that. I just haven't bought it yet because I want everybody's input on what they want. So just let you guys know what's going on there. I'm still gonna continue to meet with Tammy and Teresa on a weekly basis, so they know where I'm sitting at, so I know where they're sitting at. Making sure we follow up on this FEMA stuff. I've got Pat in my office daily, because I was asking her where the money's at, and she tells me she understands the line item stuff. She helps me rearrange stuff, and I can't say that she's an awesome asset to have out there. She makes a lot of things happen, so.
You communicate with your oversight committee?
I
know
have
you
not yet.
talked, you
I
said.
have not yet. I have made contact with Raymond, and I have not gotten to Raymond yet, but he understands why. That's next on the list, is getting with the oversight committee and getting with Raymond, and then meeting with Mike and getting with the council. Because they're gonna let me try to do my own budget here, so that's why I'm trying to get some numbers on some stats for salaries. But,
Well, sounds like you're busy.
Yeah, I think you're getting off to a good start,
Yeah,
and I
so-
appreciate the communication, that's
right.
important.
And if I've needed something, I've called you guys, so I'm just letting you know. You haven't heard from me in a week.
You know, anytime you have changes, there's gonna be
Right,
a certain amount of people happy, certain amount not. So
Correct.
that's just something you gotta work through,
right.
yeah.
And I've addressed a couple things. We have responded as far as Memphis Blue Lick Road in Memphis. We'll be getting with the person who's requesting us down there, because they're not giving the Clark County Ambulance Service ample amount of time to respond to that area. And I've talked to two of you. I know, I'm sure Mike is gonna be the same way.
I know the situation.
I think that, our trucks are for Scott County. I don't mind going to Washington County on mutual aid. I don't mind going to Jackson County, KDH, or Clark County. But I'm not making Clark County runs because a certain person does not want to use that service down there. I don't mind making backup calls. Beagle Club Road area is where I cut off, except for if we're on the interstate. I don't mind going to rest parks. I don't mind doing northbound, southbound 65 if they need us. But as far as us running Clark County, I don't want no part of that, because that's not our county. We're not getting any tax dollars from that. Clark County's never paid for an ambulance. In the way I look at it, that's Clark County's problem, not Scott County's.
You probably covered this, how we doing with the nursing home runs and all that?
The nursing home runs, we're making runs there. As far as how many, I don't know.
I mean, we're not turning it down,
Not at this point.
okay?
The only time we've turned down runs is because we haven't had enough staff on there to get it done.
Okay. But I mean, the people understand that,
Correct,
yeah.
yeah. Which is one of the things I've got to get over there and get to talking to them. And like I said, I've made contact once, but I will be going back over there. I want to talk to Cross, the ER people, and see what's going on over there as far as that's concerned. So I'm still working 12-hour days here, making sure that we're getting all our stuff covered and getting the stuff turned around, because that's what you got me here for, and that's what we're going to do. So that's the report. I hope to give you more positive news within the next 90 days. On a weekly or bi-weekly basis, I plan on being here for every meeting there is, to let you guys have a update, so you might as well go ahead and just start getting used to me, and I'll get my own seat out there in the audience, because I plan on being
The
here.
more you keep us up, probably less will bother you.
No, I know that, and I understand that. I
Yeah.
just want to let you guys know where we're sitting at on that stuff.
And I appreciate Shannon a lot,
Right.
because he jumped right in there and started talking about the budget and the numbers and the things that are concerns to our office, because starting new this time of year with all the other issues that we've had with, the additional work with the grant submissions and those type of things, it's been great to communicate this quickly and not, he not be over there for a month before we even really get introduced to him. So I appreciate him jumping right in there and tackling me and Teresa right
Yeah,
off the
and
very
it's
beginning,
been-
because we're tight. All of our budgets are pretty tight,
Right.
and this time of year and trying to go at it kind of from a fresh perspective, but with old money, it's kind of a difficult mix sometimes. So I appreciate his efforts that he's made, and I think we've gotten off to a very good start.
So what you said a while ago, you said something about your meeting with the council, are they letting you take the budget that was submitted and kind of revamp it a little bit?
I believe that's my understanding, yes. I've been talking with Teresa about
That's
that.
fair to you, but I mean, I know
Right.
they had to have
And,
it.
and
anyway.
yeah, because the budget for this next year is gonna be, it's gonna be high. From what I've seen, what I've got, it's sitting on the desk out there, they've pretty much doubled your
Oh, they did.
budget. That's why I'm going with this CARES Act on everything I can. I know it sounds like a lot of money, it is a lot of money, but it's high dollar items that we're trying to get. And I'd seen use that first before we start using county money. You told me to stay off the tax roll, I'm gonna stay off the tax roll. It's just gonna take a while to build up that account, and once we get that built up, we should be fine. Once we get through all this
I agree.
maintenance.
Well,
issues.
anytime you put medical or fire or EMS behind something, price triples. So-
Correct.
It does.
So I'm hoping to be positive.
All right.
So that's all I got. That's all I got.
Thank you very much.
Well, I mean, there's some more I can,
No, thank you.
I mean, but-
Little steps,
yeah,
you know.
but just letting you guys know we're in
But,
a positive direction.
Good, I'm glad to hear
So we're
that.
getting it turned around. We're getting
Well, I'm
it.
happy with the manpower thing.
Yeah.
I mean, just.
And Jennifer, anything you need, don't be afraid to contact us, as you have been.
be doing that.
And,
Call Bob's home number.
yes, you're welcome anytime.
that number, the auctioneer service number.
Well,
You can, they're all forwarded to Mike's phone, so go right ahead.
or they all go to voicemail.
And there's
Or goes, I can't hear you.
Yeah, I don't get much service out my end, that's what it is, All right, anything else on your part, Mr. Lisenby?
I'll
Mr.
think of
Jones?
something every minute.
Only one thing on my part is, I actually met, and I had booklets, and again, took them out of the truck, and I forgot to put them back in the truck. I actually met, with, the same group, that the Scott School District 2 has for the clinic. And, I met with them yesterday, pretty impressive. And, so,
Clinic, I don't know what you're talking about.
what it is, the school, they have went through this company, and actually it's at the hospital, my understanding. That is a clinic for anybody that's on their insurance that can go to the clinic for medical, procedure, cold, sore throat,
Broken arm.
well, anything, they send you to the hospital for that, but blood test, and it's listed all this in here. And, it's actually, if you're on the insurance, it's free to the employees,
It's like a
and,
school doctor or something.
it's actually run through the hospital, so it's actually a doctor of the, hospital out here. It is a cost involved in that, but what the school's seen is your insurance rates are based off of claims. And with this here, the claims is declined, so their insurance rates has went down enough that it's basically
Paid for itself.
paying for itself. And what I would like to do is probably, I want to get that information to you, and probably sit down, maybe have an executive session, I believe it would qualify.
insurance committee meeting.
Get the insurance committee and maybe sit down with them and also the council, to look at this and see if it would be feasible, for us to do that. And I think we could probably lower county insurance costs quite a bit by doing this,
And
I think.
I think the school has been on, from my understanding, because a while back, they visited me as well, Christy Corum, and came over and we talked with them. And the school has started, the wheels in motion to be self-funded.
Yes.
And I think self-funding is different now than it used to be years ago, so I think you can get in a better position a lot quicker. And whenever he has steps to this, and you start your self-funding, at first it's I think kind of cost. It costs some up front, but then they get their reserve built, and then you're ready to go to step, which he explained to me that the clinic, the more participants they have that are self-funded participants, the better hours they can offer. And you actually pay your employee when they're at the doctor's office. They do not clock out. Their whole goal is to make appointments. There's no walk-in, but you make appointments, and their goal is to get you back on your job in an hour.
In 1 hour, that's correct.
Yes, yes.
That's what it said.
And so it was very interesting. So I think if you would wanna get with the insurance committee, which Mike's on that too as well, so maybe you can come and we can, cause that is one thing that we kind of keep on the agenda, is the idea we might wanna think about self-funding.
I just think it is something that we need to look at, because I think it lowers the
Yes, and-
number of claims, which in turn lowers the, your insurance.
And the library participates in our group. We do not have anything to do with their premiums, other than they get the advantage of being in a larger group and the little lower premiums, because they pay their employees' portion and whatnot, their benefits. But that would pull them maybe as well that way, so.
Okay.
I do have one last thing. I should have an MOU from the hospital by our next meeting. He was on vacation last week, and he tried to get it done before he left, but he said, you know how lawyers are, you drag your feet a little bit, so should have, and then we can move forward with that. Hopefully Jerry has went to the council and asked for the money, so, which he's told me he's let him know. Of course, I've let him know too that there's gonna be about $10,000 I'm gonna have to come up with.
Okay, quick update, just one quick update, you wasn't able to today, but, I'll tell you about the, food box giveaway. We was, short one truck today. We wound up with, I think, about 580 boxes is all we got. They have, been, they resubmitted, they have been chosen as a distributor for that again. Cannot guarantee right now. We should know something by the end of the week. But I think we are certainly in line for another 8 weeks if everything holds true. The USDA has changed up some things a little bit. They picked their supplier, which is the one I've been dealing with, is McFarling Foods out of Indianapolis. They again have been chosen again to do this. But now the USDA is also choosing the people that it's distributed to. Because one thing I know Scott School District 2 is USDA is trying to distribute that money, and rightfully so, in the best ways they can. But one thing that USDA has done is in Scott School District 2, every child will have, in School District 2, will have a free breakfast and free lunch for the rest of this year through 12/31. Again, if the CARES Act kicks in again, it may continue on, but as of this year. So anyway, right now we're still a little bit limbo about next week, but I think we're probably gonna be good. Holding out high hopes for that, and the lady I talked to at McFarland, she seemed to think so. So you gotta heal up quick to get back to work. But anyway, that's where we're at. I will say that, again, one truck today, but again, that's $90,000 today was the total. I think $90,000 worth of free food went to the residents of Scott County. So anybody that didn't get one, we apologize, and hopefully you'll get one next week. That's all we could do. It's first come, first serve, and that's all we can do.
Get that many boxes in my vehicle.
Yeah. So with that, I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion.
Second. Let's get out of here, what do you say? Do you want me just to sign these and then you fill them out? Is that what you want to do?
Is there anything I haven't signed? I don't think I